Hello, everyone. Welcome. Sorry for the late inconvenience. I'm having some audio issues. Um, okay, so we're going to get started. Welcome to DSI Podcast. I'm your host and lead paranormal investigator, Duran Conrad. We got a really cool treat today because we got two really special guests, two really close friends of mine. Um, we're going to be seeing them shortly. So I just want to ask everyone real quick, can you hear me? So I just want a little bit of a check. Okay, good. So my audio is working right now. That's really good. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. That's a relief. Well, we're going to be um getting our guest in here real shortly, and we're going to kick this off with a really interesting topic that everybody questions. So, how's everybody doing today? How's your February been going so far? All right. And yeah, if you guys need me to send you that invite again, I can. Whenever you're ready. Awesome. We got our guest backstage right now. So I'm going to wait for them to give me a sign that they're ready, and then we'll get this going. So, oh, there's the cue.
What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent.
Turn that down. Sorry, we were catching live. Hey, folks.
So,
Glad
I'm
to see
gonna
you.
have you guys introduce yourselves.
Sure. So I'm Chastity, aka the Luminary Luna Beams. I'm a psychic medium and an astrologer that specializes in the paranormal. I say that a lot. And we are together. Who are you?
Appalachian Nightmare.
Yep. What's your name?
I'm V and I like ghosts.
Oh yeah, me too. I love spirits.
Yeah. So
And
basically, I do a lot of stuff, but
mhm.
our Appalachian Nightmare is a psychic paranormal investigation channel. So we go to haunted locations, specifically now around Appalachia, sometimes outside of Appalachia. Eventually, we may branch off out of Appalachia, but right now we kind of live in Appalachia. Appalachia. So yeah, but besides that, I host the Lights at Midnight podcast alongside Emily, the Fine Art Medium, and then I have my other YouTube channel, the Luminary Luna Beams. So education, entertainment, and enlightenment. The folks that watch know that's kind of the motto here. And this side of today will be a little bit of education, entertainment, and enlightenment all together. At least for me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And what platforms can they find you guys on?
So we're pretty much everywhere. Like TikTok. We have a
Hmm.
TikTok now for our Appalachian Nightmare. And let's see, YouTube, obviously. So all three of those YouTubes, you can find every one of them by searching that. And then,
New Facebook.
yeah, he just started the Facebook. My dog's barking. I don't know why.
Nice.
Hush. I don't know why she's barking. It's weird. Um, and then yeah, that's pretty. I mean, Instagram. So we're kind of on a little bit of everything with each channel.
Yeah, and you guys just had a pretty cool release last night that I was
Thanks.
watching. I mean, that was cool.
Thank you. It was
Yeah.
Madison Dry Goods, so that was
Mhm.
featured. Hush, Onyx. Sorry, that was featured, and she never barks. So I don't know if she's doing it because she's showing out because we told her to get off the bed. Yeah, I don't know what she's doing. It's weird. She normally won't bark unless there's somebody outside.
Oh, really?
But yeah, so Madison Dry Goods is really cool. It's very, it's not very close enough to my house.
Mhm.
It's a dream spot investigation, fairly active. It was only like a 2 to 2.5 hour investigation with everything. So we had some really cool stuff happen. Very
Mhm.
psychically prevalent,
Mhm.
meaning that I had a vision of a man the night before.
Mhm.
V had a dream of a man named Jack, and then that man, while I was in the Estes session, come up to me. It was like I was in the spirit. So, if people don't know what I do or who I am, for anybody that's brand new, I have the ability to see, speak, feel, and hear spirits. So, I see dead people. Okay. And
Mhm.
V's fairly sensitive himself. Like he picks up a lot on different energies and stuff. But I've been doing this work for about 5 years, so kind of all of the above. I specialize in spiritual guidance, intuitive development, and unveiling the paranormal. So kind of all of that stuff. So, but what I do is I can do like a remote viewing, or I can like see in the spirit, and I had my eyes closed, and this man with like a black no face was standing beside of me, and I saw all kinds of crazy stuff. So guys, if you search Our Appalachian Nightmare, it's the last video we dropped. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Super active, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that place didn't disappoint, I could tell.
Mm-mm. Absolutely not. Hey,
Mhm.
Connie. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Connie. Hi, Edna. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining.
What's up,
And
guys? Hey.
But yeah, we're excited. We got some stuff planned out tonight for you guys.
yes.
Interesting
Oh,
topic.
yes. Yeah, I'm excited to get kicked off into it. And about this topic, that's going to be very helpful for everyone. Is this topic will, and at a degree, it's going to help people, you know, this with their discernment, with understanding the highly negative versus the highly positive. Um, and there's many levels, there's many layers within these multidimensionals. Um, there's multi-dimensional capacities within these layers, and there's different behaviors, there's different feelings you get off them. um, there's different levels of energy involved, and we're definitely going to be diving into the details within all this, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. And focusing mainly, we're gonna start with neutral
Mhm.
spirits and
Yep.
work our way down.
Yep.
Emily and I have covered this topic
Mhm.
in pretty good detail, and it took 4 podcasts. Each podcast was at
Yep.
least 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So the way that we've kind of wrote it down is to
Mhm.
start again with the middle vibration, work our way down,
Yep.
kind of give a definition of what, and I think there's 6 total categories, and then within those categories fit certain types of spirits and entities and
Mhm.
beings and
Yes.
interdimensional beings.
Yes.
Yep. And let's see,
Absolutely.
we'll talk about the definition, the type, and then a couple experiences. So I don't
Mhm.
know
Yeah.
exactly how Doreen wants to do it, but we've been planning this for a little bit, and we were
Yeah.
supposed to do this a couple weeks ago, but
Yep.
we had a little more time to plan because
Yep.
things
I
didn't
got.
work out. But I'm
Yep.
excited to be here now.
Oh yeah, I'm really glad.
Yeah.
So I would like to let's kick this off and talk about earthbound spirits. And
Yeah.
what is an earthbound spirit? Um, so what how I feel like would be really great to break this down is for people to hear your psychic impressions of what an earthbound spirit is.
So earthbound spirits, in all actuality, for me, they can range from neutral spirits. So if you start with the neutral spirits, they're either human or non-human. And a
Mhm.
lot of times they're just like middle of the ground energy. So in certain types of practices and stuff, it's called like the gray energy. So they don't mean harm. They don't mean bad. They don't mean good. That doesn't mean they can't do good or bad, but
Mm-hmm.
they kind of just vibrate at this middle vibration. And if you think about it, Earth is kind of like that middle vibration. So
Mm-hmm.
earthbound spirits generally are stuck at an earthly level vibration because
Yeah.
here we are neither ascended or descended in our physical actual being. Our soul can, but where we're at, we're middle. So basically, it's like a layer just under, because we're going to be talking about how these things exist at different dimensions. And the easiest way, I'm not saying this is exactly how it is, but the way it's been shown to me is each layer it gets heavier and more dense. So
Mm-hmm.
physically or energetically, it gets denser. They can do bad or good. They're just kind of run of the mill. They are who they
Yeah.
are. Yeah, and it can be again human or non-human.
Yep. And what's what's really intriguing about how you put that is that it really makes sense because there are a lot of spirits that are neutral, that are in this gray area, that really don't want to hurt you, but they do need a life force to feed off of in order to survive in that plane of existence.
Yes.
So not intentionally meaning to harm you, but when you have like some type of energy that's resonating off of you, they're going to take advantage of that because they need it.
Mhm.
Things like the
So,
form of
Gotta
emotional
talk loud on this
baggage.
device.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
just letting you know.
Um,
Yeah.
Pretty much, I feel a bit differently about it. I think that there's more than just that, like
Mhm.
what we're experiencing inside of
Mhm.
a situation that, like, say, a paranormal spot, like, or a
Mhm.
hot spot. Like these things, like sometimes if people die, they die in a confusion, and they don't
Mhm.
realize they're dead. There's situations where like somebody's already passed on, and maybe they've left a sliver of their soul behind.
Yep.
That's always been my
Oh
my
yeah.
personal belief.
Absolutely. I believe that even what we're doing right now, we're slithering off some of this residual energy. So this residual energy that we're doing right here, everything that we're putting a lot of thought into, it leaves off some energy runoff. And the more someone brings that type of attention to an object too, they could leave that energy on around that object. So
Hmm.
whether their higher selves ascend, but then some of their energy stays.
Yep.
That's exactly what I mean,
Mhm.
actually.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And
So
that
I
goes with the lower, just depends on the entity too. Like again, if we're talking about neutral, just plain neutral spirits,
mhm.
doesn't again mean that they can't ascend or descend. It's totally, it's so many possibilities.
Yes.
Like it's different situations, but and not only I have found not only spirits feeding off life force, it's just energy in general, different types of energy,
Mhm.
like elemental energy, certain places, certain stones. That's why certain places harbor more of this residual energy. Residual energy definitely falls in with neutral type spirits, but again, it can still fall and descend, which we probably talk about here in a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yep.
Magnetism.
And another thing that I consider personally a neutral spirit, depending on its function, though. So again, this can is kind of a sliding scale, but to make it more simple, it's easier to put it in like layers. Is elementals. So elementals can be good or bad or neutral, depending on their function. They
That's
all serve a purpose. These energies serve a purpose. Some of them are destructive elementals, but they serve a role in
mhm.
our existence, like
Mhm.
thunder, lightning. Some tribes believe that they are actual entities,
Mhm.
and beings. You have what is it? It just slipped my mind. The dryads, like tree spirits and
Mhm.
stuff like that. They're considered elementals.
Mhm.
I could talk about tree spirits. It's quite interesting what I've seen with tree spirits, but
Yeah, I've noticed a pattern with especially native land, how there's a lot of elemental activity involved. And I believe that there are instances where these areas, those types of locations were meant they've summoned these types of beings to protect the land. So if
yes.
anybody like at all uh, goes to these places and they're not welcome there, or they're building structures on these types of places and they're not welcome there, um, that these elementals start doing chaotic things.
Yep.
It also goes for curses as well.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Almost
I
every protection was a curse,
yeah.
uh, put with certain ones in history that I remember, like
Mm-hmm.
that I listened to growing up anyway.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with that. There's a lot of curses involved with elementals. So when you're dealing with elemental energy, you got to be careful. It's a whole different ballpark when you're dealing with elemental energy versus like demonic energy and stuff like that. It's a
Yeah.
different level of energy you're dealing with.
hmm And
Right.
sometimes
Mhm.
even neutral energy, like elemental energy, can be influenced by the surroundings in that sense. So, taking what we
Mhm.
just said and then adding that elemental energy, it's
Yep.
influenced sometimes by darker energy too. So, it can be
Oh yes.
stained. There's certain
Mhm.
beings, and we'll get to this, but just to kind of put this out there, there are certain beings that have the ability to manipulate and influence already present energy and elementals, just like they can manipulate us,
Mhm.
and they can be summoned to be used for their own bidding.
Mhm.
And it's not, it's like, it's almost like being in chains. And
Mhm.
you have, I've dealt with entities like that have haunted people, and this is a little bit further down the list, but since we're
Mhm.
talking about elementals and we're talking about the descending factor,
Mhm.
it's commonly referred to as the Seelie and the Unseelie court. So the
Yeah.
Unseelie court is like, and this is a term that people have used. I don't know if it's proper, but the Unseelie court would be like a Bogart or Boggart or however you say it. For example,
Mhm.
it's like the thing on Harry Potter that's got the big
Yeah.
long noses and the big ears, and but they
Mhm.
get really really creepy. They can like grab you in your sleep at night. They can, and it's generally around some type of folklore because our beliefs are so strong, and our spirits are so strong that
Mhm.
even if, we're going to talk about thought forms too,
Yeah.
even we can shift these beings.
Yep.
So that's
Absolutely.
why it's important to, yes, we need to go up and down in vibration and, like I say, ride the wave, but it's important to have that balance and restore balance and peace to the actual land itself.
Mhm.
We're supposed to coexist with these elemental energies or
Mhm.
spirits.
Yeah. Yes. That was awesome. You couldn't explain that any more thoroughly. Um,
Thank you.
that's 100%. I totally agree with that, Chess. So going back to neutral spirits and earthbound spirits, what's what's a great example of based on an encounter you've had with earthbound spirits? And I'm sure for the both of you, like how both of you have encountered.
I'm putting him on the spot.
Okay.
We keep looking at each other like,
Well, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of earthbound spirits that I've encountered, but there's also
Mhm.
been there are things that are like they like to trick you. They won't
Mhm.
tell you exactly what their intentions are. They'll make something up to kind of lead
Mhm.
you that way. Like when we were in Henry River Mill, I kept seeing this redhead. She's very playful, inviting, wanted me to
Mhm.
come in and basically see the place.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to. I felt the energy. I was like, okay, let's do this. I've followed spirits before and it's not led me wrong. Like good spirits. You're in the
Mhm.
woods and uh, you're looking for something. Like
Mhm.
your ancestors, they're there. Like they help guide you in places. But there's
Yeah.
more than just that. Like it and ties into elemental spirits. The wood ones are the ones I've had the most experience with as far as that goes.
Okay.
But figuring out what is what for me is like the challenge because sometimes they can be very tricky. A lot
Yeah.
of them don't want you to figure it out because once you figure it out, then you've made them naked. Like it's their equivalent of how we feel like if we were naked in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like when we discover what they are and who they are, they kind of feel offended by it in a way.
They're
Mhm.
here, they're earthbound for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're being held. They have to face that fear that they still have within that part of their soul.
Mhm.
And then that goes to, you can also add in like fractals here, and fractals can kind of descend or ascend. It's not like the whole soul. Something that I kind of channeled in a long time ago from spirit, and I got some validation like several years back, which was like so cool, because I don't know why I wanted to call them fractals, but I realized that souls can shatter. We can lose pieces of our soul based
Mhm.
on super traumatic events and stuff, and like our heavenly body can ascend,
Yeah.
but that residual fractal soul can be here, and it sometimes can cause big havoc. A lot of times fractal pieces can turn darker and malevolent because it's almost like a thought form, really. A
Mhm.
fractal is very similar to a thought form. I would still classify them as different.
It
um
depends on how it's fed.
yeah, well, it
Yeah.
depends on the factors, if it's the piece of the soul or the energy. And I think it's really, for me, the way it's created. And because thought forms can be created over a long, long period of time, fractals can shatter out like that. It's like losing a piece of yourself. And sometimes that stuff's left here because it's more earthly, even though the whole soul goes. I think for me to stick to the most neutral type earthbound spirit situation
Mhm.
would be where I've had spirits come to me to like want to cross over. Sitting in this room, it actually reminds me, there was a man that come to us here to the house one night before I had all my protections put in place, and when I was still learning, and he wanted to cross over. And
Mm.
he was not like a super old soul either. He was a young man, probably lived somewhere around here. But see, we used to
Mhm.
have a Lutheran like palliative care home,
Mhm.
literally 2 football fields away from us. We've seen old people in like their suits and ties walking through the woods. They're not alive though. Like we just,
Yeah.
and my son used to see them. He don't see spirits anymore, but he used to. But mainly that's kind of one experience I've had.
Quick question: Did you did you refuse this spirit at one point, like first?
No,
Okay, I was just wondering
I don't
because
think so.
I
This was years ago.
oh
Mm.
Years.
well, it wasn't too long ago. There was something that come to me on the couch.
He
Like I was
has,
sleeping on the couch and it was just standing over me,
yeah.
and
That's, see that
I
you
was like, no, I can't go on.
discernment.
I mean, it went away.
Right, right. I
Mm.
have visitors like that, but sometimes it's visitors, like actual visitors, but it's very few and far between now at the place that I'm at spiritually. More so, I'll have psychic impressions or visitors from my clients,
Yeah.
and that can range from, that's generally not very pleasant unless I'm channeling higher vibrational frequencies.
We'll also get
Gotcha.
stuff that people have, like thought forms, or as well as like residual energy from places that we're going to.
Mhm.
If I definitely felt some stuff before we went to Danbury. That I'm talking about the arts place in the courthouse.
Mhm.
That's one in a million right there. That for the activity time, I've been told recently that it's died down, but that's probably one of the most active places we ever visited. And
Mhm.
I think quite a few of us had a experience before we went to the place. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's like
Wow.
if you're thinking about the place or you're making plans to visit the place, things there reach out to you. The energy is universal. I want to
Yeah.
say omnipresent, but I'm not sure because I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it's connected like a web, basically. So
Yeah.
it is omnipresent, but not like God. It's omnipresent
Mhm.
in our realm and maybe a couple above or a couple below. So
Mhm.
it's like layers.
Like within its
Yeah.
folder,
Yeah, basically.
to
Gotcha.
put it like computer terms, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um. Now. I have to ask this because I've never encountered elementals. Encountered things that I would question that were an elemental energy. A lot of the elementals that I've made contact with, I believe, were more through audio, but actually physically encountering and experience elemental. I don't know if any of you encountered an elemental face to face.
I wouldn't say face to face, but
Mm-hmm.
psychically encountering things
Yeah.
like that. But some spirits are just the wind. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I've had spirits tell me
Mm-hmm.
I'm the wind. I'm
Mm-hmm.
the, I'm this, and
Mm-hmm.
elementals can be over parts of those are guardian spirits, so
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but they can still be elementals
Mm-hmm.
and part of a function of the land, the
Mm-hmm.
water in general, water spirits,
Yeah.
you've got fire spirits, air
Yeah.
spirits.
Air. Yep. Exactly.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you have felt it or had contact with them. It's just in a form that you didn't quite realize. Like, have you ever
Mm-hmm.
walked to like the edge of the woods
Mm-hmm.
or something, and then you felt like that overwhelming feeling that you're being watched?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's an elemental spirit trying to make contact with you psychically.
Yeah.
But
And
it,
that's exactly what I mean. Like when I was at a place like Dyer Lane, perfect example for elemental activity. When you go out there, you just feel like the trees are literally consciously watching you,
Yeah.
your every move, and like almost like you expect like the trees moving, doing its own thing behind you, and you turn around and it's not. Like that's the kind of sense you feel out there.
have you ever seen the YouTube videos where the leaves are just waving? You know,
Oh
just by
yeah. Yep.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That I've seen this all through my life, and I
Oh
never really
wow.
thought of it as a thing until
Mm-hmm.
like I mean the no wind blowing thing, but it
Mm-hmm.
happens throughout here. Like very
Yeah.
famous throughout these woods. These
Oh,
trees have
that's
spirits
amazing.
too.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
they feel just the same way we do, and that's the
Yeah,
way our
absolutely.
Native American ancestors they taught us this.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted us to know like you have to have respect for everything in nature, that
Yeah.
everything carries an energy field.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't described in the same way that we kind of try to put it into more, I guess, scientific terms.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's a pretty good subject. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you guys decided to talk about that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. So what would you say would be the next on the list on this tier list, Chas? We've covered neutral spirits, which including elemental spirits.
Yeah.
um, we got
Um,
thought form. You want to talk about some thought form created
for
entities,
sure.
spirits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thought
Okay.
forms is a very interesting subject to me. I know I touched on it briefly,
Hmm.
but they are created through, okay, we create thought forms every day. But in
Hmm.
this sense, so we create a thought form by just this, our little list here. This turned into its own thought form, right?
Hmm.
But the type of thought forms that we're going to discuss today, because again, it's a double-edged word, basically, are the
Hmm.
type of thought forms that are created through inner like energy. So I'm going to share something funny with you guys, but thought forms can be created knowingly or unknowingly.
Hmm.
So, a person that has a lot of energy or a lot of psychic energy, you can have these lower vibrational emotions. And we have to think about it as like our energy system. So, when we think of thought forms, this is the way it's been shown to me. Just this is a perspective. It's not a definite, it just makes sense to me. They can be created fast, they can be created slow. They kind of exist the way I've seen it inside of our energetic aura.
Hmm.
And they are incorporated through our manifestations of our thoughts. So it's like a child, for example, this is just an example, creates this fictitious monster on paper, and then all of a sudden it starts seeing this monster at night in its mind. But then if that fear really escalates, for example, in that child, in their aura and stuff, and they start doing the whole imaginary thing and they start pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, it builds like a blob in our aura, and it eventually it can stay there, and it can haunt us even there because it is
Yeah.
something we have self created.
Hmm.
But if we feed that thing enough, it has the ability to bloop out and actually create its own separate entity. Now, there's stages to this. So you have, once it bloops out, okay, of our auroric field, and I mean, who's to say how far that extends out? Some people say 8 feet, some people say 60 feet, some people say infinitely.
Some
Like,
people say six.
yeah, and I can honestly say I think we have the ability to extend our energetic field infinitely, because if that wasn't the case, then I wouldn't be able to go to these places in my mind's eye and remotely view them. It's like that's where I use the quantum theories, and I truly am a firm
Yeah.
believer that as scientists study more quantum theories, I actually found something I want to share at a later date once I rewatch it, because it was a guy that actually created the first computer chip, and now he's talking about this, which I
Mhm.
talked about on season 1, like episode 9 or 10 of Lights at
Mhm.
Midnight, where the quantum fields exist and like things, the subatomic level, it's, you're creating this energy at a subatomic level. And
Yeah.
once it separates from you, it doesn't necessarily have its own full consciousness, but it can do certain things. Okay. And you can use the child or whatever as an example, because their energy is unruly
Yeah.
sometimes, especially a child with trauma, for example.
Mhm.
And then it can be, you know, kind of floating around, but once it disconnects from you, it may hang around you and be like kind of an attachment but as it starts to go, it can actually grow by picking up like energy, because like attracts like. Okay. So as it like festers around, it picks up on this fear and that fear, whatever it may be, it can
Mhm.
actually form its own consciousness. I know this sounds crazy, but it can form its own consciousness and start doing behaviors that created it in the first place. One
Mhm.
example that sticks with me, and I'm almost positive, is people that, and I keep it PG, people that participate in substance abuse,
Mhm.
especially the upper kind, the one that's really popular today. Um, and they create thought forms big time, because that kind of stuff really like opens your mind up. When
Yeah.
you take an upper of such, it really opens your mind up. It can make you very creative and all that kind of stuff, but then it starts to kind of run wild. I have seen these types of thought forms, and it's so weird because they literally like Google around your house, like, blah, blah, blah. It's, I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it is funny when you see it,
Mhm.
because they can have like these big bulging eyes, or they'll have
Yeah.
little tiny eyes and these big nose, and it's almost like what these people felt about themselves.
She's not
Mhm.
showing.
Yeah, it's like what these,
Look,
like if these
I
people
got one.
felt,
I'll show you guys.
if these people felt like they had a large nose, for example, or maybe that was their method of delivery, these things will have these big noses and these small heads. Or
Mhm.
and I hope that makes sense to people,
Like,
method of
wow,
Mhm.
delivery.
here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. I mean, and they can range, thought forms can range, you know. I firmly believe that yes, I can say, I mean, if you want me to stop and I can, and you want to take that, I'll stop there, and then I can talk about the intentionally created ones.
So the thing about the thought forms is that and I don't think that people really think about this a lot, but there are a lot, I think, that goes on with people with collecting objects and claiming that them being haunted, and they're actually haunted by something that they thoughtfully created. Putting enough of that energy into that object, it's basically like you're conjuring a spirit in that object.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I definitely 100% agree with the thought form created entities, because this is something I feel like is done with objects, because a lot of people that are fascinated with the paranormal, they tend to want to collect these types of things, and so they'll go to places and collect these creepy looking objects, and they may not even have anything attached to them, but if they put enough thought in creating saying like there's a demon in this, and they start naming it and stuff, and they actually create this entity, and it may not be a demon, but it's a thought form created entity in the object.
Yep, agree.
And I think that goes a long way with objects involving the paranormal. Is a lot of thought created stuff going on.
100%. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, he wants to show you this real quick. Show the
Okay.
cameras right here.
Whoa. Oh wow, that's freaky as hell looking.
Yeah, that's about like what they look like.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
that's
can't.
bizarre.
Yeah, I've seen some that are like blobs and
Yeah.
just have these big eyes. Like I've seen
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of thought forms. But yeah, that's a great point. Our fears can create these things, and they still can exist inside of our bubble, you know, before they pop out and do their own
Mm-hmm.
thing. That's when things get really bad sometimes
Yeah.
for people. Then we can, and I've noticed the difference between,
Like that.
so
like the blob she's talking about.
I've never.
They'll pop out like
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Wow.
Sometimes, yeah. I've
Oh,
seen them
that's
just like
wild.
cartoons. A lot of times,
Yeah.
thought forms can come in like cartoons as well,
Cartoony
Have like
looking.
round eyes and puffy lips.
Yeah.
Just crazy looking.
or like it's really strange. And then
Yeah.
sometimes they can be very elaborate and like that, and very. A lot of times, though, I've saw a lot of thought forms that look almost cartoonish, like Slender Man. Like Slender
Mhm.
Man probably didn't really exist until now.
Yeah.
Somebody has created that.
And
And
and I feel like Slenderman's more based off some another entity that has nothing to do with Slenderman, and but the person Slenderman with this tuxedo outfit has been created by Hollywood. They
Yes.
created you could thank Hollywood for a lot of thought created foreign entities. Because a lot
100%.
of that comes from, you watch horror movies, and especially people that are super sensitive to those types of films, they get so traumatized by what they've seen that they start having nightmares of it. And then those nightmares really feed into the energy of actually manifesting this entity
Hey,
into their lives.
100%.
you're telling me the images I just showed you,
Mm-hmm.
they were through AI.
Oh,
I stopped. I didn't draw them myself. They were both
That's
AI, and I was just like, no way.
that's
These are
crazy.
so uncanny that they're like, this thing is literally manifesting some of these things I've seen before, and I don't
Wow.
have that one anymore. They updated the program, and it doesn't work the same way.
That's
For them to
crazy.
show up like that was just incredible.
That makes me think that if some of these AI apps and stuff, if they could pick up some of the stuff through your deep within your consciousness of what maybe that you kind of tap into your inner fears in some way. Like, I don't know how it would, if it has something to do with your the brainwave links with the AI, of how that connects. But um I think kind of like that seer app, for example. I'm trying to figure out exactly how that works, like how
Yeah.
it's picking
Same.
up in there.
Jesus.
Sorry, I had
It's
to stretch my
very
leg.
interesting.
He come that close with his crab toes to my face. I know y'all saw that. Sorry. We're so serious right now, but almost got kicked in the face. Y'all saw that. Abuse. Anyway, sorry.
Camera, it looked like I actually pushed your head. That was perfect timing.
We
I
made it.
shouldn't have said anything.
We made it. No, I couldn't. You didn't have to. Your foot did. We made it how long before we bantered? Okay, anyways.
Look, y'all, I work 10 and a half hours a day some days, and my feet cramp up pretty easily, so I got to move a lot.
So I kicked my girlfriend in the face. Sorry.
It wouldn't be the first time. I mean,
That's amazing.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You just put your feet online, by the way. That's $5, everybody. I'm kidding.
That's hilarious.
It's just a flash.
Okay, 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Janet
That's great. So, but yeah,
bad, guys.
it's all good. That was funny. That was great. Yeah, the seer app. I'm trying to figure out how that works, though. And you know how I am. I'm really iffy when it comes to apps, but the seer app is really bizarre. Like, out of a lot of these apps that they have, and I have not read like the fine print in that app to like of how legit it is. Like, but some of the stuff that I picked up, I mean, see if I could show you it through my phone right now, and I think I sent it to you before, but I tried it and just it's so weird. Like, the first thing that it popped up when I asked Pam, I said, "Can you give me something that resembles where you come from? What is your origin?" And then this came up, and it almost looks like a ritual. Like, you could see
Yes.
candles and like a symbol. You see that?
Summoning.
Yeah,
for
and
us.
like, how would it know to pick something like that up?
That's
And
that's the
it's
thing.
just really strange. And
Randonautica.
There is a
yeah,
way to test this out though. Like I just thought about it. I've been trying to figure it out and it just come to me.
hmm
Investigate a place without saying a word about it.
We'll do that. That's gonna
Like a silent, like it would have to be like a
we could
personal
do.
testing
I mean,
thing.
I'm being
Like,
silly. I'm just being silly. I'm not trying to be a butthole. I'm just like memeing, like the moms, like it
I
would
don't
be
get you.
cool.
Okay.
Fine. Somebody got me out there. There is a question though, Connie
hmm
asked, and
Yes.
she brings up a good point. It's something that we kind of covered, but we didn't cover the variety of the black blob.
hmm
She's talking about when she does Reiki, she sees the black stringy energies and stuff. Yes, that it can be thought forms, 100%.
hmm
Black stringy energy, sometimes black static in the aura too, can be the manifestation of a thought form. I have seen that around people. They could be newer, yes, not always.
Ectoplasm.
hmm
Ghostbusters, that's every time I think of ectoplasm I think of Ghostbusters.
People don't look for it enough. I see it a lot.
Well, I think it exists. It's not a wet substance in my opinion. It's going to be
No,
a,
it just shows up in like photographs and stuff.
yeah, because then Ghostbusters has us all like slimed out and stuff, like ew, ectoplasm. But yes, that's very true. And
Yep.
then you have the self-created thought forms, or intentional thought forms, which are created by certain practices. And I mean, it's kind of like manifestation is a thought form, but I have found that lighter thought forms, like the ones that are passing, they just descend up into the ether, kind of like going out into space, and that energy gets put out there and it's lighter than the lower vibrational stuff. Lower
Mhm.
vibrational stuff, the only way I can describe it energetically is that it sinks, and higher vibrational stuff just floats away and kind of incorporates into,
Mhm.
it's like your mood. It's like if you're in a happy mood and somebody's not, but you kind of rub off on them and you're like, okay, I'm happy now. It's because you're putting out that signal. So
Mhm.
that's another thing about thought forms. Oh,
Yeah.
witchcraft. I mean, witchcraft. They create egregores or topas to carry
Yeah.
out their bidding, and it can
Mhm.
be positive or negative. But
Mhm.
egregores and topas actually can turn darkened, or if they already have a dark intention in the first place, that's the
Mhm.
difference. And I mean that's just the level of certain types of witchcraft. But generally, they not everybody does it for a bad thing in witchcraft, but
Yeah.
these things have to be managed. If you create a thought form through a ritual, once you leave this earth, your thought form doesn't leave unless you close that thought form down. And when you leave the earth, the thought form's still looking for you because it can't go with you on whatever level you're on, and then they can go psycho. you know
Yeah.
like if it's a protection thought form, okay,
Mhm.
somebody else moves into your house, they're going to have a paranormal problem.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Mhm. You know, uh,
I was
that's cool.
excited. It's my new shawl. It's the graveyard. It's for
That's
ghosts
cool.
hunting. Sorry.
That's cool.
Thanks.
Um, so do you think that with thought form created beings would cause a lot of places that would explain some places that have all of a sudden become highly active with spirits, and the family before them, they didn't experience anything, so they think that the family that moved in there are just like hallucinating or something. But what really happened is that there's some thought form, that baggage that came from one place to another with the current family that's living it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's something that's that comes about from thought form, because thought form created entities come and go at any point because of the energy involving the individual that puts into that thought.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. It's crazy. And
So,
I found once they separate, they become unruly and they just
mhm,
start snowballing off anything that's like on like
mhm,
energy. So if they get around a person that is more malevolent themselves and does darker things, they'll start to
mhm,
be
mhm,
mischievous. And then they
mhm.
do what they want because they gain their own consciousness because they've done
Yeah.
picked up all that energy to basically create you know, sometimes
Mhm.
some really bad stuff. So
Yeah.
thought forms are higher on this list. Again, guys, if you're joining in, we're starting middle vibration and
Mhm.
we're descending. So going down the list of darker
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
We're staying away from the above stuff tonight, but we're going to talk
Yeah.
about the paranormal stuff. I call it paranormal for the darker stuff. It's still
Mhm.
paranormal with the lighter stuff, but to keep
Yeah.
it simple.
And I'm sure we have plenty of other times of
Yeah,
collabing with you too to talk about that. So,
100.
because like you said, I mean, covering just this part of this is it's very time consuming, but it's
It's a
a
lot
lot
to
of it's a lot to take in. So we're definitely putting in some time to give the information how to talk about it to make sense for everyone to understand.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, so what do we got next on that tier, Chas? So
I
yeah,
believe. Sorry, I was looking at comments. I got you though.
it's all right.
Um, let's see.
I have the comments here, but she keeps forgetting.
So one thing to mention, and we kind of touched on it. This is the last thing I'll say is residual energy does fall within this first level of like earthbound to like thought form type energy. I would say all of this kind of exists within the same. If I had to put a number on it, which is not possible, but just for human mind reference, in
Mhm.
like the layer so close to earth, because that's where the veil is. They hang out near the veil and they have to be pretty strong to go through pierce multiple dimensions or veils. So all the stuff
Mhm.
we've talked about is hanging out like right behind the veil.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next
And
one is so, and
mhm.
this is kind of similar to, I would kind of classify this as behind the veil if they make it this far, but I personally think there is a space for these types of entities, and that is like parasitic or bug entities.
Mhm. Like
Parasites are
spider
demons.
spirits.
Yeah, they can now they can range from self-created to like or dirty demonic, like down
Mhm.
to the, and we don't mean like, and you know, I could probably speak for everybody here when we say demonic, we're not, if anybody's belief system is saying like demons aren't bad, that's cool. We are going to cover it from like how demons can infiltrate like people and not just like their mind, body, and spirit and their
Mhm.
function tonight. So just to lay that out there for everybody, that's one thing I would like to say. We're going to be covering it from kind of the Western culture perspective because there's all kinds of perspectives that you can cover this from.
The term
It,
demon simply means disembodied spirit.
Yeah,
It
well,
doesn't mean anything good or bad necessarily.
right, but in this
But it is
case,
mostly what we're
mhm.
associating it with for this
yes,
Mhm.
intensive purposes is dark
Mhm.
entity vibrationals type
yes,
stuff.
So I had forgot to bring this up. Is because and I won't even consider us even reaching that tier yet, but I figure I'd bring it up and ask you where you would line this up at is a Jinn. Where would Jinn line up at?
they are going to be probably for me if I had to
Mm-hmm.
rank them because this is just my perceptual ranking. It would
Mm-hmm.
be below parasitic entities
Okay.
and around interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
Or,
Okay.
and I mean, once we hit interdimensional beings, like, just remember all these beings are interdimensional, but it's just an expressive word.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put this in a box, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Their
Yep.
code isn't the same as consciousness.
but I have
Mm-hmm.
heard gens can be good or bad, but gens are kind of
Mm-hmm.
like thought forms too, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. But also, they come from a place which, you know, honestly, what I'm feeling is a gen is basically a thought form, actually,
Yeah,
but it's
they
more
can't
of a
be conscious.
descended. Yeah, it can be a descended thought form. I've personally never ran into a
Mm-hmm.
gen that I'm aware of, but the stories that I've heard and stuff, they are down there. Well, and another reason people may be thinking, I'm not trying to skip around, but going back to like parasitic or bug entities,
Mm-hmm.
is because the effect that these things have on you.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, spider spirits would also line up with that, and those are, from what I've heard from spiritual mediums, they're not fun to deal with.
I don't. That not all spider entities are bad though.
No, but we're covering darker descended
Like,
ones.
so I'm just saying it's got to be a thing that a lot of people get this confused. They think that just because they're seeing an entity or psychics, I mean, they think just because they're seeing an entity that looks a certain way, their alignment might not necessarily be the same. Well, I mean, you look at something that looks evil, it's evil. You know, that's their assumption. But it isn't always the case with spider entities. But yes, the ones that are probably some of the most malevolent types. I would put them in the like elemental category.
They can be, but the reason I put them there personally, I'm kind of following a list that I've used before, is because the function and what they can do to you. Because all of this energy can do a lot to you, but when you have like parasitic entities, they can really wreak havoc on your body, mind, and spirit, and make you very sick and cause
physical
dis-ease. Yes, I mean everything we talked about can kind of do that, but when you're talking about a true parasitic entity, that can even be a demonic spirit too. But just for excuse me, just for these purposes, I mean, you have worms, you have spiders. Parasitic entities don't even have to be bug entities. I've seen an eyeball in somebody's solar plexus that was like, I can't even do it because I got two eyes, but it was like,
yeah,
I mean, it was weird. It was some type of weird energy. And you were talking about, or he was talking about how like we perceive different entities different ways. And I went with, Emily, it was her birthday. She was feeling bad like 3 years ago. And I talked about this on the podcast, but I still laugh about it and I shouldn't, but it's just an experience I had. And it was when I was still in like my, oh my God stage where I freak out, not freaked out, like, but like, you know, defensive kind of stage. And I kind of went around her energy, remote viewed to her, put her in a light bubble, and I did a circle around her energy. And when I got to the back of her, there was a dragon. And it was a black dragon, but it wasn't like a ferocious dragon. It wasn't like, you know, a big fire breathing. It looked more like something off of anime. So it probably was a thought form. And I've never used, like, some people when they're in the astral realm, they use tools and stuff. I really don't. I'm an element energy light person. Like, if anything, I'm going to burn something in my mind to get it out, to close that connection, basically.
Yeah.
But this time, for whatever reason, when I saw it immediately, I heard a shling, like a sword come out, and I chopped its head off.
I remember you telling me about that.
I was like, yeah.
And you described like an odor too from it.
Oh, that was a different dragon.
Okay.
Now that was the scary one.
Well, that other one, I think you described it to be like dinosaur-like.
Right.
And
it was from Pam.
Yeah, associated with Pam.
Yeah, and that's where you get into the darker stuff.
That gets to the dark. Yeah.
Yeah, but the parasitic entities, getting back on subject, I just had to say that because y'all probably wondering why I'm laughing, thinking I'm more crazy than I actually am. But I mean, I'm talking about this. Probably think I'm kind of crazy anyways. At least some of the people here probably don't. But
I think she's a little crazy.
He knows. Okay. Let's see what I have. But yeah, so supernatural beings that feed on human energy, emotion, or life force, and they can attack people while they're asleep, while they're awake. For me, it's kind of like something that can come and go, or they're just constantly attached to you, depending on the type of entity. I have seen things attached, and generally they attach to some type of chakra, or they're attached to some type of disease. Just because you have a disease does not mean you have a parasitic entity. Okay. We could talk about different things and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes, like, certain cultures believe that diseases are parasitic entities,
as well as hereditary diseases.
But
like they could be attached to like
bloodline curses.
Yeah, generational curses. What I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. But we're not medical professionals. We're not offering any medical advice. This is just from a perspective from our spiritual teachings.
Yep. Now, I don't know if you 100% agree with this, but according to some whistleblowers and insiders that have this type of information, I agree with this, is that unlike parasitic energies involving cancers and diseases, but there's also people that can manifest those cancers and diseases on themselves based off cancer energies. Cancer energy is like a sin, anger, envy, those types of things, depression. Those are cancer energies, and then you're exposing yourselves to those elements, and they do cause defects to your body.
You missed the most powerful one.
What's that?
Worry.
Oh,
Worry.
worry. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's the
believe
big
in
one.
that.
Yeah.
I believe that different cultures manifest different types of spirits and they all have a role to play. So,
Mhm.
like for the Pentecostal folks, the church folks, they have, like, they call them all demons, right? And that's cool. But they pull things out of people. I've seen it done. I've seen people possessed. I've seen demons pulled out of people. Like, it's
Mhm.
real. And it's different manifestations of disease, sickness. So yes, I do believe in that. There's millions of different things
Mhm.
that's possible. And some of those things could be parasitic entities.
Yeah.
And the bug entities, sometimes I would say the parasitic entities are probably a little below in the list we've created. They're a little bit
Mhm.
below, a bug entities are a little bit above, and
Mhm.
parasitic entities can be a little bit below. They
Yeah.
still can slide up and down the scale, but in terms of
Mhm.
like how it affects you, that's kind of
Mhm.
what this scale is based off of. Yeah, it can be really bad. So people
Mhm.
have passed.
Yeah.
What? Oh my god,
What I heard.
insectoid.
That's literally
Why did you
what I
just
heard.
tell everybody?
I was just telling you.
He's talking about the bug entities and what he's like. I just heard them. They called. He's like and I don't even know what the hell you said now. Insectoid.
Yeah.
He said they prefer to be called insectoids.
Insect.
I was
Insectoids.
snickering.
Did y'all notice anything different about V?
Um.
Probably not.
His beard shorter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It is.
It was
I
down to
hell.
here.
What's crazy is I just now noticed that when you asked me if I noticed anything different.
It's okay.
I didn't even notice it till now.
No
Most
worries.
people don't. It's all right.
Yeah, he cut the man beard off.
Wow.
It was getting
Uh,
scraggly.
and how long did it take for you to grow it that long?
But not long. Just think since October.
4 or 6 months.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad.
4
Yeah,
months for
actually,
October,
since
yeah.
about September, really,
Yeah.
about the middle of September. I said
Wow,
I was
that's
going to
pretty
get an
quick.
early jump on no shave November.
What's
as a
up,
joke.
brother?
Sorry.
I got my brother and my sister in the chat. What's up? Unless Lexi
What's
fell
up?
asleep.
Thank
Yeah,
you for joining.
Yeah, so bro, when you saw us earlier, and sis,
Mhm.
he still had his beard.
hmm
He still had the beard, so that was like surprise. He just that was just a few hours ago for my niece's birthday party.
Yeah, I didn't have time to shave earlier.
Yeah, we were kicking it. But the thing, also too, trying to think, why did I write that there? Trying to think why I wrote something like a note down for myself, and I'm trying to think of why I said this. But
Mhm.
I mean, any entity technically can be a parasitic entity. I mean,
Mhm.
if you want to say that, because if they're feeding off your energy, it's a parasite. So
Yeah.
shadow people, they can associate parasitic entities with like sleep paralysis stuff, but then you're going into like the world, and it can look, sleep paralysis isn't always done by the same entity. There's human earthbound spirits that have descended. So this is where we
Mhm.
get into the realm of like, as the human spirit, even if it's like a whole spirit, it can actually descend and start to demonize too.
Mhm.
Yep. Circling
Yep.
or repetitive thoughts will be another one for that.
And they can form a bonds of attachment.
Mhm.
I think it's really important too, because we're getting ready very soon, to hit like interdimensional extraterrestrial, which I
Mhm.
think Duran could probably cover the best out of anything. I mean, I have things I can add to that, of course,
Mhm.
and talk about it, but I really think
Mhm.
you might be very good at that one. Like, very good. I think you'll actually have a lot of value to add to that topic.
Mhm.
Because I'm not as well versed in the different types of extraterrestrials and stuff. I'm just
Mhm.
gonna be honest with you.
Mhm.
And I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Crap. I've been up a long time, y'all. Let me think.
That's all right.
Somebody talk. I gotta think about this because it was a good one too.
They're still talking about my beard in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was just Alexis. Oh yeah. Actually, my beard's an illusion. It doesn't make my face. It makes my
It was
face bigger than it is.
it was an AI beard.
Yeah.
I was wearing an AI beard earlier, Alexis.
3D
It
print
was
them.
a-
You can create it on AI and 3D
Yeah,
print
yeah.
it now.
Yep. It was just for show. It's just AI. Don't worry about
Yeah.
Well, I have another project for Angel.
it.
Ooh, you can put a beard with like a rim pot in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're not getting one. What we're gonna do is save your beard hairs and have that man weave it within your beard.
trash can was empty.
Jesus Christ.
All right, never mind. I'm
We're
sorry.
weird, I know.
Oh
My
my
bad.
gosh. That's hilarious.
Anyways, I know I was talking about shadow people and how descended human
Thanks,
spirits,
Alex.
descended
You're
human
true, bro.
spirits, and okay. I was reading that last sleep paralysis. Yeah, so things can descend, and then like they can
Mhm.
literally create spiritual. What I've named, I don't know if anybody else calls it this. This is not like an official name, but I have to come up with some types of terms sometimes if I can't find a name for it. Spiritual liminal spaces. So these entities within, like if they're layers behind in different dimensions. So let's say the bug entities
Mhm.
exist in the elemental energies, in the because they're bug entities, right? But then you have this like happy-go-lucky like elemental space, and within that elemental space can exist negative and positive bounds and energy grids.
Mhm.
It's all about energy grids. And
Yes.
energy grids exist. The main purpose of the energy grids here is we have energy grids everywhere. For just informational purposes, like if I'm in a home and I see the energy grids, I see them like 90 degrees, like squares. Okay. That doesn't mean they look like this. This is just how I perceive them. And, I'm aware they can go all kinds of ways too, honestly. But
Mhm.
this is just the way that I see them. And then when your energy grids are broken down in your home, you have more of a susceptibility to allowing things to come in.
Tangled
Yeah.
wire energy,
Yes.
basically.
And
Yeah.
the way these things can come in is depending on the layer. So, like, they burrow in a way. I know that, just bear with me here, but these different energies can burrow to funnel through. So when they're portals, that's a portal. So the
Mhm.
burrowing between the dimensions, it's like summoning a demon.
Yeah.
Okay, you're portaling down to that dimension. We say down, but it doesn't necessarily have a direction. Okay, but we'd
Mhm.
say, rule of thumb, everything sinks. That's heavier. And demonic energy is heavier. I know we're not there yet, just using that as an example, but the burrowing happens in a place or a space that summon something, or it can be your emotions that crack this barrier. So I've went to
Mhm.
people's houses where the barriers were non-existent, so things are just coming and going, coming and going. It gives you no personal space.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, and that's kind of what happens, and our dreams can create this too. You can
Yeah.
pick up parasitic entities from your dreams, and like especially like Emily, she's dealt with spider entities a lot. Like her
Mhm.
dreams brought in spider entities
Wow.
because she's astral traveling. So as you astral travel,
Yeah.
you're creating a portal. We figured this out together because like I remotely viewed her room. Her room had 4 doors in it and her ceiling was black.
Mm.
And the one door was black. And as she was sitting there and I'm channeling in, Emily was meditating and she fell asleep and she went through and visually saw a hallway full of doors. So when she saw that and I saw what I saw, like we had come back together and shared what we found. There was an orange door, there was a normal looking door with light in it, and then there was a black door. And then like even cracks, like her energy grids are completely broken down because of the work she was doing
Yeah.
and not understanding certain. And this is young, like I'm not young Emily, but
Mhm.
fresher Emily
Yeah.
in her day of like learning when I was helping her out a lot
Mhm.
when we first started talking. And basically, you got a tropical shirts over there.
Oh, did you
Just
smell it?
yeah, it stinks. Phew. Ow, sorry. He ain't drank a beer in 6 months, and he cracks open one of my favorite beers. I can't even drink anymore, but it's
That's
soup.
not true.
I can't drink it
I drank
anymore.
one last week.
Okay,
Actually,
well,
a few couple.
whatever. But anyway, totally off subject. They can burrow down through the
Mhm.
tunneling, and you can open up stuff and mess up your energetic thing and bring stuff back.
Mhm.
So if
Yeah.
you're in an astral realm experience, astral realm means another dimension, another realm.
Mhm.
If things can like it's your energetic body, and if you're creating wormholes and pathways and you're not actively clearing properly, as a person with high psychic energy specifically, or a person that does not know they have high psychic energy, you can
Mhm.
bring these things back. This is
Yeah.
why, no matter what, it is important to practice spiritual cleanliness. You don't have to
Yeah.
do it religiously, but it is good if you've never done it and you're having problems to kind of like start these cleaning methods and like set your boundaries. Boundaries can be thoughts and intentions too.
Mhm.
Every time you think about it as a brick you're laying and paving as you build your wall. So I just, that's a tangent, but I felt
Absolutely.
it was important.
Yeah. Because these parasitic energies, they could tangle up with you, and they're not fun to deal with. And a lot of cases that I've heard about parasitic energies is parasitic energies are a lot like those situations where you get rid of and they come back, and you have to continue a cycle of keeping them at bay. They seem easy to get rid of, but they're easy to come back.
It's because they attach to the people that are the closest energetic vibe to you.
Yeah.
So, like, if they can't affect you, then they'll affect the people closest to you till they
Mm-hmm.
get back in.
Mm-hmm.
It only takes a matter of time too. It's because I mean, I'll go back to the Bible and say like you have to die out to yourself, be like spiritually, like every
Mm-hmm.
day, like you have to clean yourself. You have to remember like
Mm-hmm.
there's like wickedness. Yeah, I mean that comes to
Yeah.
my personal belief of like the wickedness is left here, like when we ascend, like
Mm-hmm.
the slivers of what that I was talking about earlier, of like this so tragic you can't pass it on, so it gets
Mm-hmm.
left behind.
Yeah.
Like that stuff never goes away. So when you're continually born in this world seems like it's getting energetically progressively, oh excuse me, worse, and it's because
Mm-hmm.
we're not cleansing it. We're not cleansing the world. We're not
Yeah.
keeping things as clear and clean as we're supposed to.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm just reading
That's
some of the
awesome.
chat. Sorry, I'm not
That's
ignoring
awesome.
y'all.
Yeah, that was just something that resonated with me that you were saying.
Yeah.
Thought I'd kind of elaborate on. That's
Yeah.
one of my main missions. Like when it comes to this, like what do I want to get out of this? Well, that's
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I also saw in the chats, Lucid said, "Okay, this is trippy. The last live I tuned into halfway through DSI host was talking about sleep paralysis the night I had it. Then just now logging in, and it's the first word that I hear." That's pretty interesting, the timing of that.
Yep, there are
Yeah.
no coincidences.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero coincidences in this world. Everything is led energetically. Everything is numbers. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is flow and math, and it's conscious. We
Yeah.
are consciousness. So
Yeah.
for you to be here and hearing those
Mm-hmm.
words immediately, I meant it was something you were seeking that connected you to it.
Yep.
Yes, Alex.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it can
then.
be thought driven. If it's parasitic, it's a thought form, and
Mm-hmm.
it can attach to you. Yeah. Like your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts already are probably the most parasitic thing you can have on you. That's something everybody can have. If our thoughts are overwhelming and we're not clearing out that space, that's why it's important to be positive. Even like, in any type of prayer can do it. I always say this: anything that I do does not come from me. I am not facilitating. I'm a facilitator, right? But I'm just facilitating the actions of above. I'm a firm believer in God. I mean, everybody has their own preference, but I couldn't do any of this without my creator. And yeah, like we have to lean on that. For me, I have to lean on that type of energy and loving vibration, and the light. Like that's why it's important to keep your thoughts clear. So yes, like you can actually pick up that kind of stuff from your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, because it can develop into a thought form. The thought form, I mean, it doesn't even have to have a shape or a size. It can be anything. So
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Those thought forms, and you'll notice it in your thought patterns, especially patterns that you continually have over and over again. And sometimes it can be other things. But, if you're not having haunting experiences, poltergeist energy, like pictures flying off the wall, can be an example of the poltergeist type energy that is self created. And sometimes it depends on the environment that we're in. So, like if you're in a highly charged environment, let's say the EMF reading, so the electromagnetic field is stronger where you are, it can actually interact and kind of move. Or if you're psychic and you see things out the corner of your eye, for example, you can actually, you're going to have to move your leg, dear. I can't do that. It hurts. Oh, sorry, we old and over here cracking. But yeah, I mean, it can interact with that. So like if you and everybody has the ability to have the clairs. Your clairs are just your extrasensory perceptions. Everybody has them. We all use them for different degrees, different purposes, and not everybody's meant to be a psychic or a psychic medium. We all, there's people that are meant to be lawyers and doctors, and they'll use their intuition, and that's how you make it through life. The whole point of this, we're not all going to evolve into speaking to spirits, but speaking to our creator is always a divine option, and like our guides and stuff. I believe we do have guides. I think it's very important. And even if you don't know your guides, it doesn't matter. Like you still just talk to, in my words, just my opinion, you talk to God, the God of your understanding.
Absolutely.
So, and I know when Lena had a question about the extraterrestrial. I told her we'd answer that shortly once we moved into that. Just don't let me forget.
You talking about the tall whites?
Yeah.
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 Okay. I've been thinking about that.
I was just gonna say we could move into interdimensionals and start talking about that topic because I feel like that's already going to be a pretty big topic on its own.
Sure.
Yeah, IDBs are very interesting. But they're also, again, things that can be confused with other things.
He knows a lot about this topic too.
Yeah.
I have to go to the restroom really fast. I'm so sorry. I drink too much. I'm gonna let him take center stage. I'm gonna turn the camera off so y'all don't see my booty when I walk away, okay? He'll be here. We're not going anywhere. I'm so sorry, but I can't hold it.
Oh, it's all right. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
I do. I really do.
Just step through the thing.
I am, dear. But keep talking now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh God.
So I have a lot of personal experience with things like poltergeists and interdimensionals, especially like the kind that like to. Oh, I'm sorry. She was moving around and ripped my cord out of the wall. Oh, okay. I've witnessed like personal things flying off the walls in front of me with people. Like I actually have people that can validate that for me. I've seen things fly across rooms, and it's happened to me my entire life. Like I didn't have just paranormal stuff happen with Chastity. It's been pretty much throughout my entire life randomly. The interdimensionals, they contact you. They can speak to you psychically, and not all of them are what you would call conscious, but they are what you would call sentient. Like they're more like reminiscent of like a computer, like by the way they think. Like they've taken a lot away from themselves, and they've also added a lot to themselves. They've tried to become the perfect race, and in doing so, like they've lost a lot of who they are. The tall whites, they're a good example. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the grays.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you talking about the tall grays?
Yes.
Okay.
The tall whites are like kind of your opposite. Like I've never had a full blown conversation with them or anything, but I'm pretty sure. I'm not. Have you ever read The Law of One? It's definitely an interesting read. I'm not sure if it was the tall whites that were in The Law of One or not. I know it was like some type of avian.
I know the grays. They they oppose the law of one, so they are service to self. That's as far as their belief system. You could be probably thinking about the Zeta Reticuli beings that look like grays, but they're more like children. Those then you're talking about the more benevolent side of ETs, which would be the opposite side of the tall gray.
Yeah.
So you got those, and then you got the tall grays, which you're talking about a dying species, so they created, like you're saying, they're trying to do what they can to create the perfect species, and by doing like manipulating DNAs, creating clones, and all that type of stuff.
Some of them claim that they created us,
Mm-hmm.
which is not true.
No. And they have experimented with human DNA and creating that, but we don't come from the grays.
Yeah, they have human DNA in them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So, and I think that people that do have uh, those types of DNAs in them, that's where you got a lot of, star seeds, ET souls, whether the person themselves they're not an ET, but it's in their DNA.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's that makes a lot of sense too.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to get a lot of my information from mainstream places because I'll tell you, 99% of it is crap.
Yeah.
But there is like a lot of truth out there. You just gotta
Yeah.
know like how to decipher it and how to know like the difference between it, because it's really easy to get caught up in stuff like that.
Exactly. And there's a lot of people, like, I don't know if you know who Lou Elizondo is and stuff, and like these types of big whistleblowers that are out there right now.
Who's his name again?
Lou Elizondo.
Yeah.
He's like a former Pentagon official, like special agent, and he covered a lot of that topic about UAPs and stuff. And um, one of the things that he had said, I've watched him on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how this disclosure is kind of a controlled disclosure. And he was saying, and I understand, like, when people don't like to hear that controlled disclosure, but he says that he did say something that did make sense to me of why it's controlled, is because they have to be careful, because certain things that are being disclosed could be very delicate of how it could change the public and how they could react to it. But he did say that right now this is the time where they've been really pushing more disclosure now, because people have been more open to the idea of life outside of where we are.
Yeah, the cat just did a ninja trick around the room. It's not a ghost.
I was wondering what you guys were looking at.
It's not a ghost. It's a shadow. That's his name.
Oh, there he is. Oh, what a cute cat.
Like be scratched.
Yeah, it's Shadow.
Does look like a little shadow. He looks like he wants to go crawl up that wall again.
Yeah, because we have loft beds above us. So the kids
Okay.
have loft beds. So he'll just jump from one to the other, and we're like waiting, covering our face.
So what I was saying, though, is that basically what this whistleblower is saying is that it's a controlled disclosure. So this was already planned, and there's even a guy that he was an insider from Groom Lake, where they actually kept some of the craft and wreckage from Roswell of 1947, that crash. And he had said in this documentary in 1999 that, I can't talk about this subject until the year 2025. So that really tells you that this was a planned disclosure to happen. So, and it makes you wonder how much of everything was planned. So, and that's part of like where you start to get into like the simulations and stuff like that, where everything is kind of staged for us to like see and feel and believe a certain way. And that's a really big rabbit hole to get into, but
I like to
the
go
point
off of tangible proof about certain things. And I will tell you, like, one really good tangible proof I found about this is following the inflation chart. It'll prove every word you said because it follows it to the letter.
Could I add another layer to this that isn't, it's kind of extraterrestrial, if you want to say it like that, but astrology. So astrology plays a big part. Our planets, stars, asteroids, we are the center in the astrology chart. The day we're born, you know, we mark we chart the stars, asteroids, luminaries, the sun, the moon. And I can use an astrology chart and deep dive into the person that you're going to potentially become. And cosmic energy is not positive nor negative. It is neutral. It is up to the perceiver or the perception. So you take that stuff, and I'm a firm believer that those in power understand this and they plan ahead. They have their own seers and they have their own astrologers. And I think astrology plays a huge role in acting on that because they understand how powerful it is to take certain actions on certain astrological days because the cosmic energy is favorable. Doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person or you have high vibration or low vibration, it still reacts because you are a part of this. You are stardust. You are a part of this universe as you're in this body.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so that adds another layer to it. And like right now, we're in the age of Aquarius. Aquarius deals with extraterrestrials. Like it shows there's different things. It shows about this kind of stuff in the star charts. So like when you read it, it's just something that I'm more familiar with in the sense, you know, that I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing that I wanted to add about the extraterrestrial topic is there's been moments where I've witnessed something in the night sky and it's clear as day, like the person right next to me, why aren't they saying anything about it? And they don't see anything, but then I could see it. So I believe that just like spirits, there are ETs that can manifest their craft for your eyes only to see it because you were meant to see it. And we're talking about that's when you start to get into this technology that they use with where their craft are actually alive, they're organic, where they actually have ways to manipulate time and space and traverse through invisible planes like the astral plane, and they could traverse through this plane without being detected. And from my knowledge is there's spirits, demons, angels, they all understand ETs and ETs understand.
Did you just hear that?
You heard something?
Did you hear that? What did you hear?
It was ethereal.
Whistle.
Uh-oh.
There's nobody here. Every living thing in this house is in this room. My dog is literally right here. My cat's up there eating cat food. And
there
we're
was
breathing.
A breeze too.
Yeah. It was a whistle, which is something we experienced at our last investigation location.
They say that hearing a whistle could be is usually a bad thing.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of air coming through here.
Oh.
I'm not joking either.
Yeah.
Nope. Knock you out. No, because I was talking.
Wow.
Do something tonight, baby.
Well, you are an Appalachian, so
Yep.
You know, it's to be expected, I guess.
My back is freezing.
Yeah,
right
it got cold.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just hear it again? Wait a minute. No, we wasn't moving. Like, this is not theatrical. I know most of the people in this chat know me, know who I am, know Duran, know V. Like, I would not call out BS like this just for anybody that is don't know who we are, what we stand for. We have integrity, and I'm telling you right now, I don't play with my house. Yeah. There's a barrier, but when I say that the whistles. I heard it. It was ethereal. And then I think I just heard it again, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can take care of that tonight.
Yeah. I was just gonna say you're gonna have to settle some business tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Touch my back. Touch my middle back.
Yeah, no.
Feel how ice cold that shit is.
Yeah,
Ice cold.
it is. Yeah, and
Wow.
it wasn't. It was warm in here.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I was hot like a second ago.
And you know
It
what's
just moved
interesting?
between us, the air.
Isn't that crazy? You don't even have to investigate for stuff to happen. You just talk about the paranormal and stuff will just happen sometimes.
My entire life has been like this.
So after the big drop, I did the video yesterday, and I was up all night long getting that video finished. I slept about 3.5 hours yesterday, and then I fell asleep last night for like an hour and a half, woke up, I don't know why, and then fell back asleep for another 3 hours. So I am running low on sleep. But with that being said, when I got home, I closed my eyes for like 5 to 10 minutes to kind of recharge and meditate before this. And I saw what I could describe as I don't know if you've ever had an experience with an entity like this. I'm just curious, is why I'm asking you. Jesus.
Oh, you feel that?
Maybe it's my door being open.
Oh, look at your cat just went right there in that area, and cats really are the opposers to things that are malevolent. So if there's anything that like is a negative energy, that's probably why your cat jumped right there.
Yeah, I don't think it's I'm not sensing it like I think it's being its trickstery.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's that kind of cat either. Because he's a few months short of a happy.
He is not. He's a good kitty.
He is a good cat, but he's not all the way there.
But the dog was barking at nothing earlier when we started.
Yeah, that's true.
Only thing I think though about I left my bedroom door open, which it has an air conditioner unit in the window, and I keep it kind of chilly in there because I'm premenopausal. So you can go check for the booger.
No,
in Appalachia. Yeah, in Appalachia we call them boogers. Not like boogers, but boogers.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I kind of want to run a spirit box now, and I don't do that in my house. But shit, no, I don't feel it's malevolent. I feel it's like tricky, like, haha, I'm here, but like we definitely need to cleanse. Like it needs to happen. I don't do it as often as I used to, but see, it's just little things like that every once in a blue moon that happen to me.
It'll just happen, yeah.
But what I saw before, the whole point of giving you my last day about my sleep schedule is me laying down and being a little tired, but it's psychic, like visually. I saw like first thing I saw like a oval shaped head, and it was male or masculine energy, and it was like wrinkly and had like more hair. It almost looked like a werewolf, like a traditional one. And it had sharp teeth. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Similar things, but like kind of like a beast type thing, that a werewolf thing. Yeah. I've seen things like that.
This probably could have passed more for a man beast.
Have you ever told the story of the black dog?
No, but that could be an interdimensional.
Wow,
that's the cat.
Is it? I thought the cat was in here.
The cat was just in here. Now we're freaked out. I mean, something just fell in there.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. I heard something fall.
It's the puss. It's the kitty.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't have nice things. We're just sitting here trying to talk about interdimensional demons, and things just have to happen.
Yeah. Hey, it's totally fine. This is completely normal right now. This is the type of stuff we're used to.
Yep.
Every time we're doing this, we're doing a collab, either something's going on. There's always
Wanderlust heard it. Did you hear the whistle, Wanderlust?
Yeah, I know. She said she heard it.
We're gonna have to listen back, aren't we now?
Yeah, now that's crazy. Might have to clip that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, the last investigation we did, like we started the whole whistle. I heard what I feel to be a male spirit.
Somebody whistled.
Now the cat's behind me. Now I'm freaking out. Okay, but I felt a male spirit, and he was out in the hallway of the courthouse. And I did post
Mhm.
this on socials already. Some people have probably seen it. And I heard him whistling like a jingle. It wasn't just like hoo hoo. It was just like,
Yeah.
whistling. And I'm like, okay, okay now.
Mhm.
So Michelle said, whistle us a tune, and I did the whole thing, and we waited and it whistled back. And the reason I know it's legit is because they said that has continued to happen on command at both
Mm.
places. It
Mhm.
was the next two investigations that we drop on our Appalachian Nightmare.
Yeah.
We lost footage. We gained footage
Mhm.
back.
Yeah.
Courtroom, I'm not sure. I was trying to go back, but I don't think I'm going to
Mhm.
be able to. She sent me a message and I wasn't able to read it because I was on the road about getting back out there to maybe
Mhm.
shoot just a little bit more. But she says it
Mhm.
has active periods. Now, this is an
Okay.
interesting thing to add, especially to this podcast about interdimensional. Here, kitty, I'll move that for you so you can have a clear shot. There you go. Come on. Go for it. Anyways, they're like kids. The kids are gone, but my two fur kitties are here. Or fur babies are here.
Well, he just took a long nap, so he's ready
Yeah.
to get up and
He's still a
Uh,
kitten.
do his thing.
But they're
Alexa said, I wasn't surprised Duran was having audio issues in the beginning at the live. That happens every time y'all work together.
yeah.
Exactly. Every single time. Everybody that I work with, there's something going on. It's never a dull moment when it comes to some type of something. There's always
Yeah.
something that happens.
It is. And it has something to
It
do with
seems to be traditional.
extraterrestrial things, I think.
Yeah. Probably.
Also, Edna says,
Yeah.
she says that there's Dogman. I've been learning about
Yeah.
Appalachia. That's cool, Edna.
That's cool.
The Haints
Yeah.
need to go and get.
So,
That's what that is. Yeah, we say the Haints need to go and get.
so
Man and the Wolfman's the same thing, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought I heard a purring sound. Yeah, I'm just gonna see. My brother says I heard some whistles outside my home multiple times with no one around.
mhm.
Appalachia, brother. That's a
Yep,
big thing.
absolutely.
Now it's in my house, so I come to your house today, and now there's whistling in my damn living room. What are we gonna do about this? Okay, okay.
I'm more worried about the mimics that call children in the woods.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yep.
know we've deviated a little bit, but it's worth a story time. Do you want to
Yeah.
tell the person? It's short. It's short
I
enough.
think about that every time,
Yep.
especially like going or him saying he's hearing whistles around his house.
Wonderless. It's
That's
normal.
scary. Oh yeah, it's totally
It's
normal.
normal.
It's a normal thing. But no, I'm talking about the time that after we found Aunt, we were packing up to leave, and they lived beside a cemetery, and that cemetery, there's always been like an unsettling feeling by it. I'd spent 4 days in those woods, a lot with people, some by myself, but on the way out on our last day, when a voice called my youngest daughter Ivy in her sister's voice, saying, "Come over here, come in here," and she ran straight up to me and told me, "Autumn, the oldest daughter, she's in the house."
Mhm.
So yeah, that's definitely a real
That's
thing, and a lot of people
yeah.
will tell you, children have disappeared into woods and never seen again, and a lot of people tell those tales around here.
You know what's crazy is I hear a lot about that, about stories of encountering wendigos. That wendigos like to mimic people, and they've also said in places like the Donner Summit, which is about an hour and a half, couple hours away from here, from where I'm at. But the Donner Pass is said to have a lot of activity with wendigos, and there's stories of like people's domestic animals going missing out there, and then they find their animal mutilated like way far away, but in weird ways, like that a normal wild animal wouldn't kill an animal. Like there's like plenty of meat still there, but like it's just mutilated. Like, why didn't it take some of this flesh? But it's just completely mangled and destroyed.
Are
Yep.
Wendigos witches? I
When
forget.
so wendigos are said to be spirits of the natives that died by the sin of greed. so they are cursed
Okay.
as a Wendigo. And people get that mixed up a lot with like what is it? The
radio.
Skinwalker.
skinwalkers. They get those confused, but they're
Yeah, I
actually
was
completely
wondering.
two different things. And
Yeah.
the Wendigos tend to they don't really. I don't think that Wendigos really have a form that they really present themselves as like that's universal. I think that they're just straight shapeshifters. Because if they could mimic people perfectly, they could shape shift pretty much into anything they want.
100% agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Edna's saying like the mountains have portals. I agree because this land hasn't seen water like the ocean, because a lot of times, you know, land over millennia,
Mhm.
million years or whatever, it shifts. The ocean comes, it's like the cycle of life, and it brings in stuff. This land where we live has not seen the ocean in a long time, but you can go in some of the caves out here like at Linville Falls, and you can
Mhm.
see like a sand dollar in the side of the cave where it used to be an ocean that's
Yeah.
millions and millions of years old.
Alex, where do you prefer? What are you referring to? The severed head we found?
Oh yeah, that's what he's talking about.
You guys found a
Oh
severed
yeah, I
head.
forgot. There's a delay. I don't know
Oh,
why
wait a
I'm
minute.
waiting.
Wait a minute. I was going to finish that story about what we saw where getting the ADHD setting in real good now.
Apologies.
Because we got to get back to the, and it's part of, and it's really though, it's a part of the interdimensional thing, because to me Bigfoot's interdimensional.
Yes,
Okay.
I
I
think so.
argue
I agree
against
with
that.
that.
I always will. We know
I
we
think
divide
they're
on that.
flesh too. I think they can
Yeah.
manifest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
They have
primates that
interdimensional
farmed alongside
capabilities.
us.
I will fight you to the death.
I can't. I can't.
Fatality.
I have
I
been in the
believe
woods
that
with Bigfoot. They are real. They
I
exist.
believe that
I,
Bigfoot has interdimensional capabilities. I think that he is in the flesh and blood, but he comes in between the parallel space and our space.
bro,
So
That's in
multiple
between
reality.
what we feel. So
bro,
I like that idea.
they're just
Yeah.
that fast.
Mm,
I'm telling you. When you've seen like a whole
mm,
horde of them, there's like
mhm,
not just one Bigfoot or a few. I'm talking about like entire like areas of mountains just covered with gigantic epiphytus just running
mhm.
around.
And there's also,
Unbelievable.
I think that there's a lot of getting into cryptids. I think that there's a lot of cryptids that have this capability of what people call glimmermen, where they kind of chameleonize with the environment, and this kind of gives signs of some type of interdimensional capability, not meaning that they are a spirit or something, but they have this capability that we don't understand how they function, like to be able to do these types of things in order to hide themselves in our environment. Because I think that some of these creatures, these unknown creatures, are they're not really terrestrial from this existence.
Very possible. Or they could be
Mhm.
so ancient in the evolution, like Earth has ascended, right? And it's all ascending together. But yes, I agree. They had
Mhm.
to come here some
Mhm.
way. And
Yep.
they could have been brought. I mean, you know, I don't believe the Earth was created 4,000 years ago in a great flood. Like it's
Mhm.
been here for a long time. Like,
And
It
then you
was
got to
created
think also the
7,000 years ago.
possibilities. And you got to think of the possibilities too, that some cryptids could have been man-made too, as
yes.
far as escaped experiments or something that they purposely put out there and
Yep.
Oh yeah.
planted something there, and
Yep.
see what happens with it, you know what I mean, as an experiment. And sometimes the experiment kind of goes a little, a little crazy. But I think that some of these creatures that people are having trouble identifying could be mysterious experiments.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to sit here and pretend that, to know everything that, you can know about them and blindly say that that was weird.
That's the
Oh,
cat.
was it a cat?
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
to blindly say that, they don't have those kind of abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that, like, maybe we don't necessarily understand what those abilities necessarily are.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
there's even, I mean, uh, makes you want to think that why wouldn't they be able to create something that could have those capabilities too? Because according to whistleblowers like Lou Elizondo, he had said that the government actually had done a lot of research with psychic abilities, and that psychic abilities is a real thing. He was saying he's 100%. He said it's 100% psychic abilities is a real thing, and he has all of the information on it. He said they had psychics working in our government, and for remote viewing purposes, they've done it in the military too. And he said that they're actually working on a technology-based psychic ability where people that are incapable of moving their bodies, they could use they call it, he said, it's called psychosis, is it psychosis, psychonesis, I can't remember what it was, but
Telekinesis or
no,
psychokinesis?
no, it's a technology that is psychic based. So, and I believe that there's a lot of extraterrestrials that use this type of technology with their craft, where they could maneuver in such rapid speeds that your hands wouldn't be able to react in time for those maneuvering, but your mind can. So the technology is to link to your brain waves, and it uses your thoughts to move around. So the speed of thought is much faster than your thought going to your hands and then using your hands to maneuver. It's just not
Mhm.
fast enough. But if you use the power of thought, you see something and you see yourself moving away from it, it's much faster. So when you see like these future sci-fi films where you see these craft maneuvering through things like super rapid speed, it's because it's all thought based. So there's a lot of like realness to that, and
I
they've
agree.
been working on that technology. So doing that to where there's an actual being, they say that they're almost at the edge of creating a sentient being, which makes me wonder, you know, if they had already done that and created some type of cryptid that is a cryptid to us, where they have these interdimensional capabilities because they have this um, some type of technological, like, or not technological, but some type of psychic ability that is allowing them to do this. I mean, look at chameleons. Chameleons could almost uh change how they look instantly. So why couldn't they create that? I mean, you look at octopus, a lot of things that could do this really fast. So if something were to be able to cloak themselves, not go invisible where you could walk through, but like cloak their bodies to look like the environment completely 100%. I think that's definitely possible. And
Yeah.
I believe that there's a lot of ETs that do this with themselves, and they could walk through walls if they want to, because it is a capability that they can do that's interdimensional, and interdimensional is outside the boundary lines of our physics. But they could, and you know, as far as our bodies, we could do this with our astral bodies because our bodies are made up of multiple bodies. Um, so with craft, with ETs and their ships and stuff, we can't just jump into one of their craft and, oh, we're just going to go for a drive. These craft are said to be um, only manned by somebody that could use uh, a psychic ability to where they could link their brain waves into the ship, and then they maneuver the ship that way psychically.
Yeah.
So the psychic abilities are actually a real universal thing in our universe, but our society has been really kind of clouded from that, and to kind of forbid to look into that.
It's for a reason.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
to ascend. And
yeah,
to some people, it's, we get that it's a spiritual belief for some people. It was hard for me, to do that. But, what you're talking about is kind of like what I do, but I do it in a very small way when I remotely view places.
Yeah.
Like I go into that spiritual liminal space of somebody's home. It's like I can visualize as I'm sitting here looking at you right now, Duran. My vision capabilities is like, okay, I'm going to go to the room you're in and I'm going to stand behind you. I'm looking at you, but in my mind, I can see you from the backside and I'm going to tap you on your shoulder energetically.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be able to visualize both things at the same time, it took a lot of practice. But it's
Yes.
like that's how it is in the astral form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And circling back to the aliens, you're talking about how they're able to camouflage things. That's assimilated technology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The octopi, they didn't have them.
It's like in a Rubik's Cube.
Originally either. Like
Mhm.
I think a lot of the ocean creatures, a lot of them are experiments.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like some of these just random bizarre ones you see. I mean, duck-billed platypus. Hello, like they're a mammal and they're
Yeah.
venomous.
Mm-hmm.
They have venomous talons in the back of their feet.
Mm-hmm.
They have a duck bill. They lay eggs.
They're interdimensional for sure.
I mean, I don't know if they're interdimensional or not, but they're cute and not cute at the same time.
They're
and
terrifying.
That's like, yeah. It's like, don't eat me, and like, I want to pet it. Don't touch it. Don't ever touch that platypus, guys. I promise it'd probably be a bad idea. But no, for real. Like a lot of these ships that you see, like they can, and then don't see them. Some people can see them, and some people can't. That's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
One thing I have to add to that is the reason you've probably seen it could have to do with either you've had a near-death experience, you've experimented with psychedelics, or you have had a real like spiritual experience. Like people that haven't had spiritual experiences can still see UFOs. People that have won't. It's kind of like sometimes it can be the opposite of that too. So I mean, I'm kind of curious, what your take is on that.
I was going to say, I'm looking, I can't reply to the comments because I've lost my phone amongst going to the restroom and grabbing water and stuff. But they're really wanting to know about the severed head in the woods.
Oh,
Alex said something about it, but
Yeah.
it goes along with what I was saying. I just want to finish it because I've tried to finish it twice for anybody that's curious. My daughter heard the mimic, right? We were leaving. I pull out of the driveway. I feel the energy. I see the energy. I point to the energy. It turns into a gray rectangle. And basically, what it does, or it turns into a gray rectangle, and then I see like a haggish type woman, and he does too. But while they were in the woods there, the freakiest thing you've ever saw. Well, my brother even said my brother hunts and does all that kind of stuff, and he spent a lot of time in the woods. And what did you see?
A severed possum head that was so fresh that it still had the light in its eyeballs.
But it was like,
it still
surgically
had the saliva on its tongue, and the way its head was taken off was in a way that it wasn't tattered and torn at the neck. It was very nice and clean.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like something
like a clean rip, just straight across. Like
that's
I've never
like
seen anything like that in the woods.
Yeah.
Just
That sounds like something that like you would get from a negative ET or something that is even neutral ETs tend to experiment with animals for scientific reasons and stuff, and DNAs and all that type of stuff. But I mean, I never heard of it with possums, but then again, you guys are in the Appalachian, and you guys probably get wendigos over there.
I've had things they'll try to scare you out of the woods. The woods are so thick you can barely make it through them.
Wow.
Her ex, he ran through woods that you could not walk through.
That's the woods he went missing in for almost 4 days and didn't come out of due to mental health.
He spent 4 days with demons.
I believe that.
Pure terror and just
don't remember nothing.
Has no
I'm thankful for that. But
wow,
he's doing a lot better. I'll leave that there. He's a very private person. I don't want to go too much into it.
I don't want to give details. But
I didn't mean to cut y'all off, but I remembered
Sure.
Lena. Did y'all cover Lena's question about it says, I've been recently seeing a tall white. My husband saw it too. Do you guys know if it can be a shapeshifter pretending to be a tall white alien?
That depends on
Oh,
what your definition of tall white is,
I mean, a
technically,
tall, yeah, but
because
Kitty,
so
no.
some
Let
people.
hold on. I
Oh,
think he was trying to talk.
oh, I'm sorry, I
that's
didn't
all
hear
right.
you.
No, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking like the tall whites. Wouldn't they be more like your Nordic type of alien, like the
Uh,
the pale white skin with the blonde
yeah,
hair?
that's what I think of when someone says tall whites. They tend to have like they they look like us in a sense, but they're much taller. They have larger eyes,
Yeah, I
but they
feel
have
the.
no ears. They tend to have like no ears or something. But there's like an ear opening, but there's no like ear cartilage.
Oh,
I
Um,
see a tall, long alien with the alien shaped head and black
mhm.
eyes. Lena, if you're still
That sounds
here,
more like a tall gray.
yeah, this one I see a white being that looks
Yeah,
alienish though. Maybe I'm wrong. Or
and
they're not
and
big heads, but it's like a bigger cranium and it kind
yeah,
of does
yeah,
this.
okay. So
yeah,
check me out.
mhm,
She said
That
it
looks
looks
like
like
a
a
gray. That's
gray.
what I was visualing.
So
yeah.
That's what she. Yeah, I'm
Mhm,
seeing it too, Lena.
if
I hope I described it. What you're talking about. That's what I see.
if you
You
yeah.
noticed,
seeing.
like earlier, like mistakenly was talking about the grays instead of the tall whites.
Yeah.
That's why, because for some reason I actually thought she meant the
Mhm,
grays, because that's what
yeah.
I seen. I could see it like did she say it was in her backyard or
I don't
something?
know.
Or like I
But
get
to
a
answer your
feeling it's behind
question,
Mhm,
where she
yes, it
lives.
can. It can
mhm,
shapeshift to get,
mhm,
depending on what you've been dealing with or what you're dealing with. They can, certain things can shapeshift into whatever you want, especially if you've had an interest
mhm.
in that before.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're not experiencing some type of extraterrestrial, but it
Mhm,
can shapeshift. You can deal with other spirits that will shapeshift into other forms to get closer to you to make you feel comfortable so they can
mhm,
come back. So the best bet in your situation, Lena, is to not engage because it could be a
mhm.
trap. But I hate
Yeah.
that. I hate that. But the situation at hand, I would recommend denying any type of communication or access. That's
There's
just
usually
my
Yeah.
no good
personal
that come from
opinion.
grays.
Yeah, and the tall grays, you got to be very careful with just in general because the tall grays, they collab with reptilians, the Dracos. So they're not really tend to be something that you want to trust. Um, and that's another thing is the tall grays have been known to do this with the public is to engage with people into getting them to trust them. And the thing about the grays also is they tend to be very aggressive too, and scientifically, and people have gone missing from these types of beings. They've been known to abduct people astrally too. So you got astral abduction experiences caused by these species. But the tall grays have they weren't always like this. They were actually a more benevolent species at one point. But when the Dracos were removed from the Draco constellation, they corrupted Orion. The Draco HQ is actually in Rigel, in the Rigel star system in the Orion constellation. So they're like right there. That's how close. So you got a species that can't reproduce itself because the Dracos manipulated their DNA and dumbed down their society to where they now rely on cloning and trying to create hybrids with their DNA.
Which is the same
Um,
thing they're trying to do now.
exactly with human.
Spoiler alert.
Look, exact. Seriously, I mean, the proof is there. You know that there are multiple negative and good species here on our planet that are at, secretly at war under the veil that we don't see. But the ones that can see could really see past the bullshit that they see on TV or whatever. Like there's people that see things more transparent, you know? So there's some things like that that just can't hide from those individuals. Um, and you know, giving into a lot of the stuff that is on TV is almost like a drug to some people, so they kind of really buy into it very easy. So
Probably say that to somebody.
Yeah, we're communicating, we're mining or mime.
so but yeah, the just to summarize it though, the tall grays, you definitely want to stay clear from them and really keep yourself grounded. Create that energy barrier, create that grid that they can't cut through, because it is effective that way. Crystals are a very important factor when protecting yourself from negative ETs. Clear quartz, amethyst. I use amethyst. Amethyst is a
to
really good.
Yeshua or
What's that?
Jesus.
Yeah,
Either
you got the
way,
power of prayer too. Very effective. Now there are beings that look like grays, but that are benevolent. Now those what you talk about the more childlike grays, but they're
are you talking
not
about the
from
3-footers,
Orion. The what's that?
the little ones?
Yeah, they the ones that I've seen, based off my research, I've seen them, but I can't pinpoint and say for sure that this is where they're from because I haven't really established enough communication with them yet, but I've seen them many different times. But based off how, because I've seen them now face to face, not just at the corner of my eye, I've seen face to face contact with them. My fiance, she saw them face to face. Finally, she's seen one in the room, so
Oh
that really
snap!
validated a lot. And I was kind of worried because like that she would be really freaked out about that, but she said she didn't feel that energy from it. She said she felt a lot of love and wisdom from this. And I said, okay, that's good. You're seeing exactly who comes and visits me, and they come in like flocks. There's lots of them. It's like a school of kids, like very curious to see what I'm up to and stuff. And Roxy, the medium that I worked with that passed away, my mentor, she had told me that they're around me a lot. She said that she's never witnessed like anybody that she knew personally that had so many ETs that were very protective of an individual. And they said that she said they're very protective, but she didn't know exactly where they were from. But she asked me to reach out to a remote viewer at some point. But she said that these ETs say that you're going to find out yourself eventually, and that's really what they want from me, is for me that I'm going to get that information. It's all about part of my growth is that I'll get the information when I got there. And
3-star system.
what's
I
that?
was thinking the center and
3-star system is what I heard.
3-star system.
Just come to me, so I figured I would
Okay.
share.
Interesting.
3-star system. There's a significance around the threes.
Interesting, because Roxy had told me, she said, "Do you have like a 3-dotted she was asking me anywhere on my body a 3-dotted mark on me that that isn't a tattoo, it's just naturally there, and
I have
you
them
may
all
not
over
even
me.
yeah." She said they're perfect 3-dotted formations. She said this is a mark of a starseed.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Uh,
1, 2, 3. They're all like perfect, either
yeah.
isosceles or
Mhm.
equilateral triangles. So
I
Yeah.
got a bunch like that too. Like I got one on my face too.
Yeah.
pimple. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set you on fire.
So I
Alexis with
started.
pooper pants.
So I started noticing that, like, that I had these little tight triangles on me, and I've never noticed that, and I don't really have really just like hella freckles, you know what I mean? Like, and the ones that I do have, they're connected in threes. And so I thought that was really interesting. And but based off like the type of ETs that I've seen, most of them tend to look like this particular species known from Zeta Reticuli, the Zeta Reticuli star system. So and they're known as Zeta Reticulans. and they look a lot like grays, but they tend to, most of them actually wear an outfit, and it's like it almost looks like a kind of like a scuba suit, I guess you could say. It's really like fit to their skin, and but they look like children, but they have much larger heads than us, and they have, where'd that thumbs up come from? I didn't even put my hands up or nothing.
What?
Why would that happen?
What happened?
So maybe it was a spirit saying I'm correct about that, because look at, I'm doing that and it's not doing it.
Wait,
What? I missed it. I was
I'm
petting the kitty. I didn't
totally
see it.
confused right now.
Did it
There was a
visually happen?
there was a thumbs up that bubbled right here on the screen.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to
Let
God.
me see if it comes from here. Could you see a heart or anything?
No,
No,
maybe someone gave me a thumbs up.
they can't. I don't think they.
Oh,
I mean, I'm giving hearts, for example. Like here, is this it? Like this? Can you see them now?
mm-mm.
You don't see anything?
Oh, did anybody else see a thumbs up?
Linda said there was one on my face.
Yeah, I see.
I
Yeah,
mean, I can see. They can see them on YouTube's end, but on our end, I've never seen that either.
yeah. See,
So that
that's,
could have been some type of validation. I was over here
yeah,
just
right.
listening,
That's what I
tapping
was
in.
wondering. I was like, was that like a validation that what I'm talking about? It could be a possibility that I've been visited by Zeta Reticulans.
Yeah,
That's
that's very
interesting that
interesting.
it just popped up that thumbs up. And usually it happens when someone does this, but it's not even doing it. That's weird. So
Yeah,
I had
I've
my
never
hands
seen
down.
that on all the stream yards I've been on. I've never seen that because, guys, what we're looking at is different than what you see because we're backstage. We're on a website. We're on StreamYard's website.
Hmm.
Y'all are seeing us on YouTube. We're not even, we're on YouTube, but we're not on
Hmm.
YouTube, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep. So that's
Oh,
interesting.
that's
So,
crazy.
um, so getting back to the whole extraterrestrial topic. So you got clearly benevolent and malevolent types of species of extraterrestrial. And I don't care what anybody says, there are a much vast amount more of benevolent species of ETs than there are negative. They are way outnumbered. Um, and there's actually a lot of ETs that look, they're known as human ETs, where they look almost exactly like us, but they're a little bit taller. They got like really beautiful pearl white hair, and like they got these crystal blue eyes, and they sometimes have a like a pale face, or they'll have a different shade of skin color. They could be kind of a green to blue. There's different types of the skin pigments are so universal out there in the cosmos. It's interesting what you could see, and you know, that's a big thing too, like of us as a whole, as a society here on Earth, that we shouldn't be looking at each other this way. We should be looking at each other as we are all one. We are all human, you know? And because if we can't handle looking at each other like as that way, that we are all conscious beings, how can we handle being experienced or encountering other beings that are a lot different than us? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. They can't.
So
People aren't ready. As much as they
yeah.
say we're ready, people are not
Hmm.
ready here. She's
Yeah.
wanting to say hi now, too. There's
Oh, look
Onyx.
at that. That Onyx.
Onyx, yeah.
Oh,
She's a good girl. She's going to
yeah,
lay
she's
on me now,
beautiful.
but Onyx is saying hello now, too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yep.
don't think people are fully ready. And interdimensional, like
Hmm.
these things exist. They have to. I mean, yeah, there's the universe and space time and stuff. That's the
Hmm.
extraterrestrial part. But there are
Hmm.
extraterrestrials that are interdimensional as well.
Hmm.
Like, we can say they exist somewhere out in the universe, but there are
Yep.
interdimensional. They're coming from other layers of other
Layers of
universes.
dimensions.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
Yes.
don't come from another planet. They live on the same planet as us. They're just in a different light
Dimension.
spectrum.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yep.
the scary thing about interdimensionals is those are the types of beings. The reason they're so low is because they're sentient. They can actually be like, I mean, every entity or being's real, but you're not dealing with created thought form energy or a bug entity, which can be very dangerous. You're dealing with potential things that can take you places.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
aliens can take you, like interdimensional being, and it's very it's kind of rare, really. It's very
Mhm.
rare. I'm not trying to put fear in anybody when I say this too. Like the likelihood of you being taken happens to a lot of people, and depending on your belief about it, is it's very low. But I
Mhm.
mean, this is the reports that we have. I believe it. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's the kind of territory it's like, And the thing I'll say about the whole like psychic programs and how the government, yes, the government I truly believes has like astrologers and seers and stuff. And even if I think about that kind of energy, because I'm a remote viewer, but I remote view different in a different method and a reason and a way they do, because I
Mhm.
do it for paranormal stuff rather than like I'm trying to see a piece of paper in a room. I don't do it that way, so don't come for me. But basically, like I've tried, and every time I've viewed that kind of energy, I end up in a conference room.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's powerful. I get there, get in the conference room, kind of show my ass a little bit, and leave. Like it's really interesting.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
a very, very vast subject in the sense of why is it on a lower vibration? It's not
Mhm.
always. Everything here can be lower or higher because there is an
Mhm.
essential free will to a
Yes.
degree. But when there's certain spiritual aspects to this stuff, there are spiritual laws that they have to
Yeah.
follow. And if
Yep.
things break those spiritual laws that are given to us through the universe and our creator, then they have every right to leave. Does it
Mhm.
always happen instantaneously? No, because it depends on how entrenched the trauma or the event or whatever the energy thought that is keeping these things around. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And I think that's a good segue, like line, what I just said, to move if you're unless you're not ready to move into demons.
Well, one thing that I did want to add
Sure.
for the ET subject
Sure.
was more into uh there was just a little bit more I wanted to dabble
Of
into
course.
about the
Yeah.
Dracos. So the Dracos are reptilians that they look they could be 6 to 9 feet tall. They smell really bad, and they obviously look like reptiles, or in some cases dinosaur like.
Yeah.
um
They don't all smell
these
really
get
bad. They just smell a little fishy. Like that's what I've read. Some of them they say they smell kind of a fishy kind of smell.
Really?
Yeah. Some people say it's like a rotten kind of smell.
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
from a lot of people that I spoke to, and people that are whistleblowers about the Dracos, they tend to say that they smell very bad, and you could smell them from far distances.
Wow.
And so these reptilians tend to also be able to mimic humans as well. And it is also said that interdimensionally, uh, Dracos there are species of Dracos that traverse through the spiritual plane uh, as a demonic presence.
Yeah.
And so people get Dracos and demons confused with each other very
That's
easily.
a
Absolutely.
good point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and I have photographic proof of uh, Draco type reptilian entities involved in some of the objects I own, and which they really resemble what looks like a demonic reptile.
That's very
And
fortunate.
yeah, and I've even captured one in a big orb. I have it on my Instagram. It's a really old capture, but there's this entity within this giant orb that's covering like almost half the screen, and when you zoom in on it, there's this almost a full body apparition of this what I've researched, and I got a fucking perfect alignment of the exact what this thing looks like. And what I got the perfect match of was that this thing was a alpha albino Draco. alpha albino royal Draco. That's what they call them, and it's like
That's
a really
wild.
like higher, a much higher dimensional Draco. So they're higher dimensional, but low realm, low vibration of a higher dimension.
I'm trying to
So
find it right now.
yeah, they're called the alpha albino royal Draco.
Is it this one?
No, that
Oh, it's not
let me
the
see.
one that I drew for you. Okay,
No, this one was it's
I'll
in
show
a
it to you
room.
though.
I could pull it up on my phone,
You see
but
it? That stuff's wild. This is how me and Duran actually officially met.
yeah, was that photograph right
Mhm.
there.
I thought this is what you were talking about because I saw this thing instantly in this picture.
Yeah,
If you go to
this
Duran's Instagram, y'all can see a lot of these captures. He's really
yes,
good at capturing things in the
yeah,
photo.
this captures a lot older than I thought because it's like way down in there. I should be almost there.
So
Um,
I'll tell you something about Dracos you might not know. Some of them, they, you know how snakes possess a kind of a pit in their head to sense heat.
mm-hmm.
Well, they have something like that, but it's like a hypnotizing thing. It'll
Oh,
hypnotize you and make you see whatever they're wanting you to see. So if they're
mm-hmm.
wanting you to appear as a human, they can appear as
Mm-hmm.
a human. That's how they're able to look like. Some of them can look kind of draconian in a way, like longer snouts, more lizard like.
Yeah.
But to you, you're only going to see a human being. Like, and the only way you can tell a difference is when they have this little shimmer, like
Yeah.
this. It's like like a sheen or whatever when they break their consciousness, and it happens during times that they experience things like pain or confusion or
Mm-hmm.
fatigue. Like, and it happens often. Like, I mean, some of these glitches you see on TV, a lot of them are just fake. But
Yeah.
I've actually seen some really good convincing ones, and I've actually seen. I think I've met some in person. I can't prove it, but
Mm-hmm.
you just kind of know. Like when you meet them, they're different. Like
Yep.
it's just everything about them screams different. And if you're psychic, you can read. You could tell someone's there. Like you can feel their
Mm-hmm.
aura. Well, with these things, it's like blank, nothing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that shit's wild. Um, the the thing that a lot of people do experience too when they encounter beings like tall grays or reptilians, even some cases, even when you're encountering a benevolent species, there's missing time sometime involved with the visitation or the abduction.
Mhm.
They have this capability to induce amnesia where it could cause like, so in some cases where someone, say you're in a car with some people and you see a craft come down and you experience what you're encountering face-to-face contact with an ET,
Mhm.
and the other people in the car, you're looking at them and everybody's just kind of in a zombie state or zoned out, and but you're the only one that's kind of fully functional. In a lot of cases this happening because and that all the other people in the surrounding vehicle don't remember the experience at all, and
Mhm.
the individual keeps some of the memory in, the one that was fully capable of interacting. And the reason why this zoned out type of situation happens is because they induce this amnesia on their contactee.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. The whole fourth kind, like fifth
Mhm.
kind, it's a
So
lot.
that's the photo. That's the orb right there.
Oh,
Yeah. It's I
I'm
have
gonna have to look
different
for it.
shots. I got it kind of zoomed in, but it's kind of hard to angle it. But
Yeah,
it's it
I
was
remember
more of
you
a
showing me that
portal
now.
than
Yeah.
it was more like a portal to me than an orb, because of how many different spirits were coming through out of it. I think it was just a wide open portal. This is the unedited one. The other one I kind of dropped the contrast so that it would pop more, but this is the
Hmm.
original photo. And I have the zoomed in shot of the entity that looked like this alpha albino royal Draco, and it's going to be probably hard to see on here, but he's right here. You can see his
Nice.
head and his shoulders and everything,
Yeah.
and right there. But it took me a while, but I sketched it out exactly what I saw, what I see in that photograph. So I sketched it out, and I got this.
Oh, wow.
So that's exactly what I see. So
Wow.
I sketched him out. So, and as I'm sketching this out, and I'm like, damn, this looks really familiar. And I look through my extraterrestrials almanac book, and it contains about information about the species of Dracos. And one of the species was the alpha albino Draco reptilians. And what's interesting, it looks like he's wearing a robe, and those alpha albinos wear robes, like kind of like a
Hmm.
ceremonial type robes.
I was
And
wondering because it looked cloaked to me. Like I
yeah,
even see like more of a cloak
yes,
actually, like
hmm,
around the whole thing.
yeah,
It's fascinating. It's
yeah,
not something that I'm very honestly well versed in.
hmm.
Um Personally, it's not
But
something that I've looked into a lot. It's not something I've experienced a whole lot.
and you could,
Now I've had my fair share of like things I've seen in the sky. Like me and my
hmm,
sister, I don't know. I think it was like last August we went outside and there was like and it could have been a laser. I'm not saying it's not because the military is training with lasers now.
yeah,
But I literally saw a red dot like go sideways and then drop down. We watched this red dot do a couple things, and it wasn't like a normal laser beam. Like it
yeah,
wasn't like that. It was
hmm,
just weird. I've seen all kinds of things. But the only thing that I've ever had like a vision of is it was like a little alien basically, and it was like disguised. It couldn't hide it's what it was. It was like that guy, that little alien guy that tries to disguise himself as a kid or something. I can't remember the cartoon, but it was like a round head, big eyes, but its eyes were galaxies.
Invaders. Yeah.
hmm.
And it was like a little kid with a bowl cut, and then he transformed into the alien. I don't know what that ever meant, but I really did see
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah. So that's basically my rundown with the lower good examples of lower interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. So
Yeah.
and you could see why people could get those confused with demons, but they're two completely separate things. And yes, there are beings like that do collaborate really well with those types of forces. I mean, you look at secret societies, humans themselves work with some of these iconic demonic forces. So, and where did they get taught that type of stuff? Reptilians, because they've worked with demons and devils and all that,
Yeah.
So,
It's an evolving thing for me, to
mhm,
be 100% honest about the demonic and like what it truly is.
mhm,
And I mean, when we get into like, there are lots and lots of demons, and there's different levels of demons. You
yeah,
have, it's like a military ranking. You have
yeah, it's a
the,
hierarchy. Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, you
hmm,
start with the lower ranking is higher up on
hmm,
the ascension level because they are still as dark and malevolent, but they're not
hmm,
as powerful as your Beelzebub type energy.
yeah,
Okay, the ones
right,
that we're familiar with.
yep,
But something that I have noticed about demonic, particularly demonic forces, and this is just from an earthly perspective, it's 100% human driven most of the time.
hmm,
There is energies that feed into it, and it goes into like how human spirits can demonize. They can't truly ever get to the point where, well, I don't know though. But like, when we think of the demonic, I've seen demonic encounters, and
hmm,
I've seen people do some really crazy things. And it's different. It's different. It's definitely different. And it has to do with a lot of wounding, and
Mm-hmm.
human emotions. Like the demonics, there's different types of demonic beings as well. For me too, you know, if you're looking at like the Christian perspective or whatever, they don't really talk a whole lot about it and give it in detail. They have learned more about it in detail. We've been given in a Christian perspective. You've been given scripture, and it's been told, but it's only a fraction of what really exists, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But
Yeah.
I have seen possessed people, and it's always been people that have cracks somewhere.
Yeah.
We all have cracks as people, but
Yep.
it's like, you have to get, you know, what is the stages, you know, oppression, infestation, possession. I know I'm missing one. I'm sorry, I'm getting really sleepy. I'm trying to stay up here,
You're all good.
trying to get my brain going. But basically, you know, to get a demon in your life, it really doesn't necessarily take a lot. Upper, lower level demon, like the little minions,
All you have to do is ask for it.
it doesn't
Yeah.
take much. Does it take
Yeah.
a
Or not.
does it depending on what type of demon you're looking for? I mean, you go back into like illnesses and stuff. Some people consider those things demons. Could they be demons, or could they be, you know, extraterrestrial life? When
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about haunted objects, and the doll that you see there, a couple of the dolls you see there behind Duran, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they harbor that. It is a force. It is an energy. It can have a body, but sometimes it doesn't have to have a body. They're a spirit. I do believe demonic energy can seed within you. I believe it can attach to your chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is a lot of things. I mean, what is a demon? I mean, you know, he said the definition earlier, but it's very human driven, in my personal opinion. They are ancient though. But
Yeah.
now, what role do they play? I believe that humans can create their own demons. It goes back into thought forms,
Thought
but the
form.
minds can
Yep.
get just as bad.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing.
Demons are disembodied spirits, meaning they are spirits that existed that had a physical form that no longer exists in the physical plane.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we put them there because it's the biggest and the baddest, and people, the
Mm-hmm.
demons, because they do seed inside of us. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen people, I've told this story before. I put my hands, gave light to this boy, and I watched him pass out. So he went from being like emotionally distraught because he was fear. They
Mm-hmm.
feed off fear, they feed off lower vibrational emotions. Yeah, I watched him go from being fearful and like, oh my God, it's back, to like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, nobody loves me, you know, I'm not worth anything. And then I see him literally like, I don't feel so good, and him just go whoop and pass
Mm.
out. And then the next thing I know, when he comes to, he's doing this. And he does
Oh
a
wow.
full round on the floor, and he comes up like, I'm serious. It's
Jesus.
funny, but that's what he did.
Yeah.
This man contorted. Like,
Wow.
and then my mom was down there with him because my mama was a CNA. He
Mm-hmm.
passed out, and she's like, his name was Anthony. She's like, Anthony, you know, and he contorted and twirled, and he is about 165 pounds. My mama was a little bit bigger than him, and he took her with this part of his arm laying on the floor, okay, like flush. He took this part of his arm and pushed my mother back all the way
Mm.
out the door against the wall. And when I saw his first contortion, that's when I knew. I was like, Mama, get up. Mama, get. She didn't like, it didn't resonate. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Mama, get up. Mama, get up. She couldn't get up fast enough. That man took my mama with this little skinny beanpole, about maybe 5'11" guy. Took my mama, which was kind of my size. She's taller than me, and she was a little bigger here than me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the weight difference between them, but this part of his arm, and he went. And then I had to start calling on archangels. This man was
Mm-hmm.
contorting. I got it to stop because what it did is his consciousness fell back.
Mm.
His consciousness fell back, and that
Mm-hmm.
thing that was inside of him linked to him. So the
Mm-hmm.
demonics can, multiple types of demonic spirits. I don't believe there's one physical Beelzebub. This is just my personal belief.
Mm-hmm.
There is an energy of Beelzebub. It is
Mm-hmm.
split. It splits off. Beelzebub
Mm-hmm.
is an energy. It can look certain ways, but
Mm-hmm.
multiple people experience it. It's not a physical. Can they manifest physically? Yes, but they are not physical. And this is just something that I've come to this is my perspective over
Mhm.
time with
Yeah.
dealing with different things. But this guy, like, he just, oh man, the first thing that got, it to step back, because
Mhm.
I was calling in Archangel Michael, and he's over here like going from, he has a kind of a higher pitched, softer voice. It went from,
Mhm.
I don't feel so good, to, you bitch. Wow, wow,
Mhm.
wow. I mean, it was bad. It was
Mhm.
bad. And this was when I like really was getting into this. This was 3 or 4 years ago now, actually
Yeah.
about 4 years ago. And the only thing that got it to stop, as I'm praying for Archangel Michael and Jesus to come in,
Mhm.
was they gave me a cross, and I instinctively put it right here. I put it there so hard, he had a cross imprint on his head, and that was the
Mm.
first time he went back out. And he
Mm.
woke up, and he's like, "What happened?
Wow.
Why do I feel so bad? What happened?" And then
Oh,
he passed out again. It came right back, not
back.
even 20 minutes later. Then we
Jeez.
fought for an hour, and it said things. I'm like, Archangel Michael's coming. Do you feel him? He's like, the sword. He said it's so creepy. Ooh, gives me chills. It was
Mm.
like, the sword is falling. Like, fucking, I'm sorry. It
Mm.
was bad.
Wow.
Yeah, it
That's
was bad.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
intense.
yeah,
That's an intense moment that no one wants to be in.
yeah. There's two
Have to
people
experience.
that
That's
was
crazy.
there with me. That was my
Mhm.
That's basically my family. My mother and
Mhm.
her life partner, and her life partner's still here. He's not
Mhm.
in the best shape right now. I don't know what's going on with that. Not getting into it, but Mama's not here anymore. Those are
Mhm.
my only two people that have proof. And then I went with that with my mother-in-law,
Mhm.
ex-mother-in-law. She was having psychiatric issues, and I mean, I know that that's a real thing, and I 100% believe in that. People have real mental health issues. I'm not denying this, but
Mhm.
when she is 5 foot tall and I'm 5'7" almost, and she's 5 foot tall, and she like grows in stature, and her eyes recede into her face and darken, and her teeth sharpen, and
Yeah.
she comes at me and speaks in another language perfectly that nobody knows
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
and I had to ask myself and learn, why is this happening to me? Okay.
Yeah.
Why? It's because of my light. They
Mhm.
knew who I was before I knew who I was.
Mhm. Mhm.
The demonics meant to destroy you from
Mhm.
the person. There is a place in my perception called hell. It might
Mhm.
not be exactly the way that it's described, right? Everything's a perception, but there is darker places. I've seen them. I've seen these shadow people,
Mhm.
like darker places. I've been in those spiritual liminal spaces where, like, I see a being with red eyes and I could barely see him, but he was blacker than the black that I was already seeing. And
Mhm.
then it was like fireballs of light came from the sky and landed on the ground. And as soon as these fireballs landed, I saw these shadows scatter.
Mhm.
Like, those are dimensions, those are places. The shadow world does exist.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's scary. It
Um.
is scary.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that ask me this. Is how do you tell the difference between if you're dealing with a devil entity or a demon? And see, the thing about devils is devils are much more intelligent. So they're really good at getting in and slithering into everything about you. They know how to manipulate you more. There's a whole nother level of that, and people are like, "Well, why you say they're so intelligent? Aren't devils really bad?" Well, the thing is the higher the dimensional capacity that this entity has, the more it comes with intelligence. Just because they're are at a high dimension doesn't mean that they're with the angels and stuff. You're talking high dimension, but at a low frequency.
Mm-hmm.
There's many layers within every dimension.
Yep.
So when you're looking at devils in that perspective, you're looking at a high dimensional demonic being. but at a low frequency. But when you get the higher dimensions, they come with more capabilities. There's been known that there are devils that are capable of transmuting metals to
Mm-hmm.
actually changing the form of metal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and uh, and this is stuff based off demonology, and also in some cases that go far, centuries back, talk about this. And dematerializations of physical objects and rematerializing of physical objects.
Yeah. Sorry.
Those so those types of things. So things like that are usually due to something of a higher dimensional capacity, because things your average neutral spirit ain't going to be able to do that, because it takes way too much energy for them to do that.
Yeah.
But if you're at a higher dimensional capacity, you are capable of causing phenomenon like that.
Yes.
So
And
They're also able to get to those higher dimensions because they've never had a physical body.
mhm,
and they've learned. I mean, they're ancient and they serve a
mhm,
purpose, but they are able to go through the
mhm.
dimensions. So,
Yeah.
like, in my opinion, from my perspective, the more powerful the
Mhm,
entity, the more ability they have to go from a lower and higher dimension. Like,
mhm,
yes, we can, as intuitives and stuff, travel to different places, but it's different. They're doing it in a different way. And
mhm,
yeah,
We're looking at it through like distortion.
yeah. With demons too, there is the principle of invitation.
yep,
Like, you can invite them in. There is I have never, I mean, I have found people that, and I will argue this down 99.9%, okay, 99% of the time, if you're having something like this, there is something in your life that needs to change.
mhm,
Period. Some people say the demonic, and this is lower level, as in, like, not as important. This is demonic, not um I'm sorry, devils.
mhm,
So and again, it's like an energy that sometimes it is a learning lesson. Like, I had to learn that. Does that mean they have the ability? I had to set boundaries. That was part of it, but I still invited it in somehow. Like, it's hard to say. When we go out and we do these investigations, we technically are inviting that energy. And that's why it's important for us to set boundaries. Like, every once in a while, we'll have something happen, like the whistle.
yeah,
Could it have been something else? Possibly, but I personally felt like it was spiritual.
mhm,
I think it's interesting that it happened now. That he's been having more experiences than me, but I think it's because he's going through another, like, awakening, kind of like another level
yeah,
up, and really
mhm,
getting more into this. Like, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. I
mhm,
mean, there's different types of, again, there's just so many different types of things you can say. But I have noticed everybody that has a darker, demonic, descended spirit issue, there is something going on with their mind, body, or spirit. Something is off.
mhm,
If you're protected, if your chakras are balanced and aligned, if you have good flowing positive energy, you
mhm,
will not be put, and it doesn't have to always be the same. You can go up and down, right? We can
mhm,
still descend on that vibrational chart and ascend and still not have problems. But if you're staying down, 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 you're having really, really bad stuff happen, or you've been abused. I've seen this a
mhm,
lot with abuse victims, specifically a certain type of victim. That vibration, and it can come with spirits too.
mhm.
If you're
Also being addicted to negative energy.
Yeah,
addiction,
I got that.
all kinds of stuff, it comes, there
Yeah.
is a spirit for everything, in a sense. It is an
Mhm,
energy that comes with it, and the collective feeds that, and it can become as dark as it wants to be.
mhm,
I think that's a demon too. I think that classifies as a demon. There's not little devils running around with pitchforks, okay? It can be an energy, or it can be
mhm,
it can manifest any way it likes. It's just, it's
mhm.
different. I don't know. Maybe some people feel differently, but
Yeah.
You just better
Well,
hope you're stronger than it.
yeah. Well, it's said with devil entities, they tend to almost never present what they truly are to a human. They always perceive themselves as this magical, beautiful person, and you just want to connect with that being, because they're master tricksters. They are the masters of that. They're a higher dimensional capacity to do this. Their energy is so potent and powerful that it's hard for you to resist it unless you really understand discernment. They really don't have a good structure with contacting with someone that has good discernment, because their whole infrastructure of their agenda towards that individual just crumbles, because they have trouble tricking that person. So they try to do other things. Maybe they might get to someone else to get to them, because everything's failing for them to get to that one individual, because this person's discernment is really, really good. They're very protected. They're spiritually protected. They know how to discern things too well. So they go to the next person. And primarily a lot of these types of entities, really what low vibrational beings really are after is a life source, and more importantly for them, it would be a fear source, the fear gland. They feed off that. It is a magical substance for them. It's a supernatural substance for them. And the more they feed off that, and the more they start to have power over you, and you have less dominion over it. And with that, there could be all sorts of illnesses involved, because it's feeding off that life force. So it's decomposing your body from the inside out.
Yes.
So and also in the Law of One, they talk about how this mark of the beast is actually the mark of the sociopath, the people that lack activity in the frontal lobe. It's some people are just born with it, and people that are born with it known to have as the mark of the beast.
I actually saw my first mark. I'm sorry, I have to say this. I saw my first mark, and I saw it on an individual that we may know. It's the vampire guy from France, I believe, or what's his name? He does tours. He writes books now. He does paintings in blood. Nico.
Oh,
He was the first one that I saw this marking on. I don't know if it's exactly what you're saying, but I think it might be. But I saw the marking on his forehead. Either he's done it through rituals, but I've actually saw my first mark. So because I paid attention to it, I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened.
So with the lack of the frontal lobe, when you don't have brain activity going through there, and it's not reversible. So when there's no brain activity of the frontal lobe, it just starts to decompose. So you literally, the people that lack that activity in the frontal lobe, they're literally have decomposition inside in their brain. And what attracts rot? Demonic. So they always are susceptible for the worst of influences, and they give in to the worst of the worst, and they drive to the worst of the worst. So there's people that develop this over time it could be caused from trauma or something like that. And it's, generally it's not reversible. It just, once the brain activity stops, it starts this decomposition. So that's where it brings the strong importance of the brain development from the child, from when it's a newborn to its adulthood, because in that age bracket, you got a strong brain development going on there. And it's really important, because when you lack that frontal lobe, you're lacking, that's your emotional brain waves right there, where you're able to collect emotional feelings. If your brain does not have that, then how do you have any kind of emotion to anything you do to an individual, how you speak to somebody? So you got people that kill people because of just curiosity, because they want to know what it's like to kill somebody. You got the brain, you got the mind of, you have the mark of the beast right there. There's no brain activity to the frontal lobe. There's no emotion to it.
That's who Nico, he wanted that. It reminds me, because I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but that makes a lot of sense what you're describing, because Nico, he did that. I have to lay flat for a second. My back's giving me a fit, but sorry about the moving around a whole lot. I can't.
It's all right. We're
Apology accepted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't mean to be fidgeted on your podcast. I'm just getting
No, you're all
it's
good.
like a late night chat. I feel like we're hanging out.
Well, I mean, at this point, we're merging into 3 hours almost. I'm surprised we're still on.
I know, that's cool though. But it's a good topic to cover.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
I knew we were shooting for 2, but I already knew it probably wasn't
going. Every time we say.
And I mean, we all get, we all like to talk. All 3 of us here you're looking at, we all like to speak.
To talk about, exactly.
So,
and it's all good information, to hear from the both of us, to hear it out. It's really good to talk about this stuff, and I love to be able to
meet you.
I know. It's really awesome to actually finally talk to you after all this time. Shit, we've all known each other for a long time, but I've never got a face-to-face chat with you. I think out of, when did me and Chas start talking? Is it 2022?
Yeah, so it had to be. So probably early 2022. You're one of the first people that I actually, because like before all this, I did not connect with anybody on the internet, period.
Yeah.
Before all of this kind of work, I did not connect with nobody.
Yeah.
That's all I really do now, besides my family and a couple friends that I have here. Like I see, like y'all see, you've seen,
Same. Work and ghosts.
Yep. So, but
ghost people.
It's been, we're coming up on 3 years, and like some of these people, like Veronique and Kristen, I've known them for 5 or 6 years now. Time's flying.
I know. It is.
So terrible. I didn't mention the kids. Ghost kids.
I ain't got no damn ghost kids.
You got ghost kids.
Southside doesn't come out. Hell no, I don't be claiming no ghost kids in my damn house.
No, not here. No, never mind.
Okay, I totally went over my head.
Yeah.
Who was you? I used to do that all the time. I know I probably shouldn't, but it's like everybody's got that side of them where they're from, and then that comes out, like country South side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, demon. There was something else. I just like a couple of statements I wanted to say. Demons. That's it. So like when I've communicated with a demon, like the physical way, like I explained to you, they talk shit, they belittle you, they're repetitive. It's true what they say. Because like it was telling me, I'm like, I'm using my light, I'm casting you out. It said your light is puny, and I'm basically said, without saying F you, my light grows day by day. Like it tried to tear me down because I was the only one there that had any type of inkling to know what to do in that situation. But when I've communicated with a spirit of one of the demons, they make themselves very, very prevalent. It's a different type of energy. First of all, they don't just sneak in. You don't just get a vision. No, they come directly to you. They are right here. When I have dealt with demonic energy, and they talk like this: I am death, I am war, I am, disease, I am destruction. That's what they say to me. It's like, I ask the spirit to try for my client. Who do I get? Who is this? What can I get from you? That's what they say.
Yeah.
Well, I am death. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And I've got to the point now where the last thing that did that to me, it was showing me war and death and destruction. Like the dreams I've had, these interdimensional dreams, or the hellscape dreams I've had, where I've actually been taken there in the astral realm by dark things that used to be around me. And freaking now all I have to do is I'm like, okay, I get your energy, not scared of you. I took that image and I crumbled it up in my mind like a photograph, And then I set it on fire in my mind. Never heard from it again. That's how powerful. At the end of the day, I share this stuff to let you guys know, yes, we are not invincible as humans, but we have a lot of power because we are in our element. We are in our realm. Now, if you go to another realm spiritually, you can get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't be astral traveling, trying to like kill astral spiders and stuff. That ain't your business.
You gotta
Okay?
have some astro buddies.
I'm
Yeah.
even that. It ain't nobody's business going to these places and doing it unless you've been facilitated or called to do so.
Yeah.
It bothers me seeing people that go on these missions that are self-created because they have a vendetta. Well, guess what? That's lower vibrational,
Yep.
and you shall attract what you
Yep.
want.
Yep.
I'm
Don't
guilty.
don't do it. It's not how this stuff works. If I could say
Yep.
anything to anybody, mind your business. Okay, I'm being
Yep.
serious. Like it's a very serious thing because I've seen some really bad things come out of that mentality. That is
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah. It's
Don't
there's
try to pull
people.
witches out of the woods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
if
a
you,
lot of people that like to poke the tiger.
yeah,
You
it's
know.
like don't do it unless you have to. Not everybody is supposed to do that either.
Yeah.
Like it seems cool, and like I've never watched anime or anything, but I've been told that some of this stuff is kind of reminiscent of certain animes and stuff. I don't know, but then you get these people that live in that kind of fantasy. But if I could encourage anybody, since we're probably wrapping up here soon, if I can say anything, is don't be scared. Stand your ground, stand your power, like set your boundaries. Look, this is after dark chilling chastity telling you like it is. I'm looking straight in the damn camera too. Like for real. It just work on your vibration, clear and heal your traumas. Like we still gonna have something around, but if you're actively trying to do those things, let's say you have paranormal activity and you start to actively try to do those things, the paranormal activity may ramp up because that could be an indicator that something's holding on to that. It's its food source and it doesn't want to let you go, or you don't want to let you go. So never try to self-diagnose in these types of situations, because people that do this, I've had clients where they get so focused on what is it, what is it, what is it. At the end of the day, sometimes it doesn't. It's good to know this thing. It's good to be educated. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it doesn't always. And this is just not all the time. So I know some people may disagree with this. It doesn't necessarily matter what you're dealing with. Sometimes, unless it's super bad, it still goes bye the same way. And
Yep.
that is why I'm starting to do paranormal help course or class. And it's more like a session. It's a group session. It's not a class. I'm going to be kind of teaching this stuff to people that have the way I can help more people is inform them. And I'm only charging $5. Only reason I'm doing the group session, paranormal group sessions, is because and having people pay $5 is because I don't want a bunch of people to book and take seats away from people that need it and then just not show up. Because when people invest a little tiny bit of money in that, they become more accountable. And I know, and I'm just going to take that money and fold it back into paranormal research or to help a
There you
client,
go.
like if they need supplies or something. Like it's
Yeah.
not going to go in my pocket to buy me smokes. It's going to go
Yeah.
directly towards paranormal research or to help a
Yeah.
client, or if I need gas to get to a client if they're locally. That's where that money's going to go. So, and I don't expect to
Definitely.
make thousands of dollars. It's not even like that. It's just literally accountability,
Yeah.
which is very hard for people that have severe paranormal activity because they're stuck in that moment and presence in their life. That's my soapbox. And that's just, I mean, to kind of wrap all this up,
Yep.
that's the mentality that I've personally had to have.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to have it differently. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know that probably was very straightforward, but when it comes to this type of energy, that's how you have to be. And loving and kind and
Yes.
how you treat other people
Even
matters.
to evil.
Yeah, I mean,
Evil does not like it when you're treating them kind.
they don't like
Yep.
the light.
They want to be the furthest way away from love. They
Mhm.
want to be the furthest way away from light.
They
Yep.
fear it. They run from it.
Yep.
Every now and then
Absolutely.
you catch one.
And you know, the worst thing that someone could do is to use provocation, and because
Love you, bro.
they think that that's how you deal with it, is by basically talking shit to it or getting it angry, but it wants that. that's what the individuals don't understand, is they want that frustration out of you. That's all frustration energy. That's all anger energy and ego energy. When you're feeding it that, then it's got something else to give back to you that you're not going to be ready for. And that's what a lot of people screw up.
Well, a primary example of that is like wanting activity to happen,
Yep, there's that
looking
too.
for the activity, seeking it out. They will give you the activity you want, and then they'll take it away, and
Yeah.
then you won't get any activity at all. They do that so it disappoints you.
Yep.
That's how they get their energy from you.
Yep.
That's why you have to be very careful about how you go into things, especially when you're conducting investigations.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that anything that is a part of you isn't in the investigation, that it's as neutral as it can be energetically.
Yeah. There's also situations where some spirits just don't trust a certain and people that get into the field. Not saying that it would happen at every location that they investigate, but there's instances where people get left empty-handed a lot, and this is because it may be because the individual isn't open enough to the spirit, or because of something that is going on with the individual themselves that they have to fix, because spirits can have trust issues with the living, and if they want to communicate with you, they got to be able to trust you too, just like the living
They
trusting to
need
talk to
trust.
with another
Trivet
living
clinic.
person.
Yeah.
Trivet
So
clinic. Need trust. That just popped in my head about
mhm,
the Trivet clinic video. I'm sorry.
It's like information that you get, that you receive.
mhm,
They have to suffer for it.
mhm,
Sometimes some
yep,
information that you gather, they can't give you. Some
yeah,
of the questions I ask, they get stopped, they get halted, they get told,
Shh.
mhm.
Hush. Don't tell.
and
Hey,
shh is also for
Connie.
the living.
Oh, what was that?
Shh is also for the living.
Oh, yeah.
It goes really deep. It goes much deeper than some Illuminati
Hmm.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Just a little Easter egg for later on.
Hell yeah. Connie said, "Do you think there are humans that have no souls? They are just bodies that are alive with only physical energy?"
It's very possible. Yeah. I mean,
They're sentient, not conscious. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
people
Yeah.
can shit on Sylvia Brown. I don't care. I'm not for or against Sylvia Brown, but I
Mm-hmm.
did read one of her books and she talks about this. And yes, I think there are dark souls and light souls. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's how she explains them too, like darker intent, meaning that they are somewhat soulless. Can they be
Mm-hmm.
inhabited by something else like extraterrestrial? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that not all souls that are in a body, and it makes you think about like when we start making babies that don't have a mother or a father,
Mm-hmm.
like that's scary. When
Do you
they're
think do you think that dark souls could be also a possibility of some of these individuals that are born with no brain activity to the frontal lobe?
it's possible. Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, though, Spirit's saying
That could be
yes,
targeted.
but sometimes
Yeah.
it has to do with your life path. It depends on what you believe. Sometimes it's a life path thing because not everybody that is not born with this ends up acting
Mm-hmm.
upon it. But I
Right.
think there's different reasons that different things happen. It's just that multi-layered, and you know what? Spirit's telling me is it's a
Mm-hmm.
perceptional thing. We create our reality based on our existence, so it's
Mm-hmm.
multi-layered, multi-perceptions,
Mm-hmm.
multi-vibes. Like in this space with this perception in this universe is
Yes.
different than here, since we're kind of covering all of that. But where we are right now in this present moment and who we are,
Mm-hmm.
we could be in another universe talking about the same shit, but we'd be talking about the higher vibrational stuff instead of lower vibrational stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
we're angel warriors in another,
Mm.
who knows? But
Who
it's
knows?
very, it's kind of
Yeah.
confusing for my human brain to comprehend exactly what I'm
Yeah.
getting. But basically, that's kind of how it is. But in this present moment, yes, I think there are humans that walk around with no concrete souls. They're dark
Yeah.
souls.
Well,
There's dark
and you
stuff.
also got to think of it this way: is we're a microscopic speck in the universe of possibilities of the universe. I feel like the limits are limitless in the universe with the amount of different realities. We are part of a multiverse.
Yes,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So,
Well, think about it like this. As far as we can see,
mhm.
it's that inception type thing.
There
So
it
if
is
we
again.
Man, a
There's a
check
thumbs
that
mark
up.
on
was
my head. Oh, I'm flipping a knife. That has nothing to do with me.
anyways, no, you didn't see what I did because it was on your forehead. Um yeah, no, I didn't.
Put a one in the chat if that's what she did.
What was I going to say?
Sorry.
Oh, so think about it as like how we see the things that are bigger than us and smaller than us. That's a perception. So we see ourselves.
Mhm.
That's like middle ground. We go down deeper, we start to see tissues, and if you go deeper, you get to the atomic level, and then you get to the subatomic level. Well, guess what? We
Mhm.
exist in the world, but we look at a building, it's bigger than us. The trees, they're bigger than us, and it keeps
Mhm.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The
Yeah.
planets and
Yeah, we
stuff.
live in the
Yeah.
atomic level.
Right. So what's bigger than the planets, the universe? What's bigger than the universe? We have
Mhm.
no clue yet.
Yeah.
But there's something probably bigger,
A
just
snow
like
globe.
there's something smaller. It goes into the dimensional conversation, which I think we could probably have on another night, but I will
Yeah.
say this. It goes into that a Rubik's Cube, like fifth dimension is
Yeah.
theoretically when time and space starts to fold in on itself and it creates rifts.
A tesseract.
So you're able to go in, think of it as in a Rubik's
Yeah.
Cube. So like I have to be doing at very least 5-dimensional things to be able to remotely travel to these
Mhm.
spiritual limited spaces. It's not like I can travel to, of course, I mean, y'all obviously know this. It's just rhetorical at this point, but basically I
Mhm.
can't go like move around Duran's mic, like, you know, it's not like I can do that, but it's in a certain physical space that I've had access to that deals with spirits. I have been granted that.
Mhm.
That is a gift or a privilege or an ability. It is
Mhm.
not something everybody will do.
Nope, it's
Yeah.
not a level unlock.
And I'm just talking about
Yeah.
myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, not all this is
You have to
things.
pre-order the game.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
ever. That's the thing. And it sounds like some people think it's so cool and they want to do it. And like, I wish everybody the best on their spiritual journey. And I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say this, but everybody has their abilities to hit the clairs. Everybody has extrasensory perception. It
Yep.
just depends on what your life's purpose is and how you're going to use it. So if you ever hear a psychic medium say,
Yep.
everybody can do this, yes, you can to a degree, but having that one size fit all
Yep.
expectation is not realistic.
100%.
It's not.
Every
Yeah.
situation is unique.
I never
Yeah.
asked for this either. I never strived to be this
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I
Yep.
didn't ask for any of it.
but I'm grateful. I'm
Yeah.
extremely grateful.
Yep. And that's like you know, the work I do is I feel very divinely driven, where
Yes.
there's a lot of things where some of the stuff that I do where people look at the position that I'm in, like, I mean, look at what I'm surrounded by. There's a lot of people that question me, like, why in the world, what in the world would make me want to have these in my own home? You know what I mean? How do I do it? It's something that it's a calling where I do this to help others understand. And but then there's the part of me where how I'm capable of protecting everyone in my house from these types of things that are attached to these objects. And that includes visitors. If anybody comes in my house, there's those potential hazards that could happen. But I do. That's why I practice so much with spiritual protection, with creating grids, and I don't leave the objects completely dormant for me. I do. I do talk. I don't conversate with the objects, but I do interact with them to where I let them know that they're in a safe spot, they're being protected. And you know, every time I'm doing my thing when it comes to cleansing and grounding my objects, and all it takes is a small talk with the objects where you don't conversate with them, you just let them know what you are doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah. And
So
there's like this big, it's a lot of blue or like for the barrier that you have on those objects, it's like a 3-dimensional barrier. It's not just like a 2-dimensional sheet. It's like a 3-dimensional box, and it actually morphs into different shapes is what I'm seeing. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like that Archangel Michael blue color.
Yeah, that wouldn't
I can
surprise
see
me,
it. Yeah.
considering the
Behind
fact that I work a lot with Michael, and I work really well with Michael, and I've gotten a lot of fast responses with Michael too.
makes sense.
So
Because that's part of what's connected. And your purpose, I think, with this too, is because you're meant to do this. I don't recommend it for everybody. Like, and I have a real big problem
no.
with the whole haunted doll thing online. Like,
Mhm.
because a lot of people lie
A
and
lot of people do it.
Yeah, but you buy a doll. I could go over here and grab this doll and tell somebody it's haunted. If they believe it enough, it becomes haunted.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's totally different. That kind of haunted object, it could be.
Yeah.
It could grow into something
thought
bigger.
form haunted.
But yeah, but
Mm.
there's different levels, which we're going to be doing the haunted object series at some point. Like, I'm trying to do it right. Like, I've decided I'm going to do it right. I'm going to be doing a cool series that has a lot to do with my client. And that is now, Duran is now the owner of the client's doll.
Yeah.
And I actually have been back in touch with the client. Yep.
Right there.
Yep. I've told y'all about the experience I had with the doll, or with the entity attached to that doll.
Yeah.
The last time Duran was live, I saw the entity standing next to the doll. It was a psychic impression. It wasn't actually the entity itself, I don't think, but if it was, it just manifested long enough for me to see it. Approximately 4 days later, I get the intuition to message that client I hadn't spoke to since November 2nd of 2023. And I got the overwhelming feeling to be like, is everything okay? Y'all doing okay? And it was not. And I'll have more to share. They've gave me full permission to share that story. This is one of the first real deal client case, second real deal client case that I can share with y'all. I also have another client case with Beth. She has given me an audio interview, but I also want to do something more with that as well. At some point, I was thinking about releasing them on Luminary Luna Beams, but if my channel, I'm only, guys, if you're new, I see probably most people know me here, but we have 55 more subscribers to go until we reach 1,000. So we'll be creator status for YouTube.
That's
so all the
awesome.
people here, thank you. And I'm excited to have 7 videos.
It's a lot of hard work that went in.
Yeah, but not as much hard work as some people do.
I'm just saying.
It's a lot of work,
hard.
but I'm trying to tell you, we got very fortunate because of the people that surround us.
You know, your guys' content blows me away every time I see a new video that you guys make. It's just like, it blows me away of how well it's done, and you're doing this all on your phone. It's just like, I can't get over that, like how amazingly done that your investigations are done, and you guys investigate so respectfully too. On top of that, I have to say that.
Yeah, we definitely try, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that.
I really wasn't editing a lot before. I mean, I did social media editing, but I spend a lot of time on these videos. Like, look, I could cut the videos down and I could have them done in about 5 hours, maybe 5 hours. But it wouldn't have the sound. It wouldn't have the effects. It wouldn't have that feeling. Like, when I do these videos, I pour my blood, sweat, and I shed a tear every time I get done with them, because I literally I'm serious. I get emotional because it's like a part of me that I'm giving people. Literally, that's how I feel, because I'm intuitive and I'm psychic. Like, I'm really digging deep when I go into these places before, during, or after I'm having psychic experiences. And then I sit down, and creativity is next to divinity. When you're creating something, you are channeling, you are flowing. Unfortunately, there's a double-edged sword there, because I'm going back to these places intuitively, remotely, picking up these energies as I'm sitting here doing it. So it is like a up-down roller coaster ride. I do hermit. I have to a degree. I mean, I have to come out and do things for my family, but for the most part, my kids know, they're old enough now. Like, mommy's editing, ask Nick. Period. So that's pretty much how that goes.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Oh, I'm gonna stab you.
The spirits do that to him all the time. Ow, bitch. I can't be cussing on his podcast. Stop.
It's all right. You're good.
We can't be civil.
Hey, it's late. It's appropriate,
I'm gonna have to cut a psychic.
Hey,
It's not sharp.
YouTube, stop! Don't do
hey,
that. YouTube.
hey, you know that's another thing that I love watching on your guys' investigations is that you know you guys take it really serious, but then you guys got those naturally funny moments where it just comes naturally, and that's like the best comedy you could get when you guys.
Is that shit in that tub? If I left that in, y'all, because like what I took out that y'all didn't see was when he was doing that walkthrough on the 3rd floor. I didn't know how Madison Dry Goods would feel about it.
I had something showing me that.
Just hold on. So you know. Just hold on. He goes up there and he's like, somebody's been up to no good, you know, with the Ouija board, you know. And then he gets to this water. He's like, whoa, what's this? And he looks down. He's like, is that shit in that tub? There's shit in the tub. And then he just keeps going on. And here I come out of the dark. And I'm like, there's a damn Ouija board. And then, like, we start the investigation and we're asking questions. The REM pods are going off next to the stairs. And just randomly from across the room, he's like, he's asking the portal box, did you shit in that tub? It's like, Jesus Christ. I don't even think it was shit. Okay.
Oh
like,
my God.
But yeah, there's some things, the either frustrations or some things that aren't appropriate. Like, so every once in a while, like, I swear to God, the portal hot tooted us. You heard that.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Was
and
funny.
then Riley's like,
God.
hook, spit on that thing.
I'm not going to lie. I put a lot of stuff in there for her to have to edit out on purpose.
God, it's so
That's
annoying.
hilarious. Dang, that's...
She comes out of the room at random times now yelling at me while she's editing. It's hilarious.
What?
And then his ADHD kicks in.
Why?
You just ask rant. We'll be something crazy, amazing will be happening, and he'll have exactly, and he'll have like the damn camera over here, and there'll be REM pods going off here, and then I'm like, it's just what it is. I mean, that's part of filming. We're not professional by any means, but we try really effing hard.
I'm professional.
What was hella funny is there was that moment, I think it was your guys' investigation you did over at I can't remember the name of the location. It was the one that your most recent one before the one that was released last night.
Trivet Clinic.
The Trivet Clinic, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And
that one.
Dude, that one was it had a really good ending on that one. Comical. How I could tell you were hella tired, Nick. Like I could tell you were definitely you were definitely you probably from all the communication you're getting through there.
And we were sick. We were sick.
Oh,
like
that's right.
Prior.
I didn't even think about that.
There, not contagious.
Already drained.
Yeah.
So you were already drained
the whole time.
Yeah, because I remember that moment where Nick was trying to think you were explaining like a lot of you were trying to explain something about like how they were gonna be trapped there, and then Chastity like basically summarized it into one or two words that you were trying to say, and you were like, yeah.
Sorry, I was reading comments.
Oh, it's all right. Do you remember that though? That I just that part, seeing your face right there. I'm like, damn, I could tell V was just he was ready to fucking leave that place because he was just drained.
Yeah, like when it's hot, I'm pissy. Like I can, and I'm already
afterlife. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, like St. Albans a sanatorium. I had to cut out so much because I'm in there. When I go in there, I'm balls to the wall. Let's get this done. Like my goal is when I have 8 hours, I want to get done filming and then relax and enjoy myself. Does that ever happen? Absolutely not. But I mean, like I'm what you got to understand. I was an event planner for 10 years, basically. Still am technically. Didn't go nowhere. But yeah, I'm an event planner. So like I like to stick to certain schedules, but I still have that effort mentality. Like I know I'm riding the wave here. But also, I'm editing these videos in my head while I'm shooting them. So like I'm thinking of the camera angles, I'm thinking of what it looks like. And then like if he's not pointing somewhere, I've got my phone and I'm pointing somewhere because I'm like developing the concept in my head of what I'm going to edit while I'm there.
Yeah.
So and effectively I like to channel before I go and not know anything at all. And I sometimes don't even know like the history, most of the history of the place until I edit the video. So like that's
Yeah.
what happened with Jack last night.
You know,
Yeah.
like another example, that moment where you trip the sound alarm that
Mm.
in that room, and you said it was making your ears ring.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
I'm glad
gosh.
she cut some of that
I
out.
cut a lot of that out. A lot of it.
Well,
A
the thing
ton of it.
I think the part that makes it more comical for me is I understand. Like
Yes.
I've been there, and I like especially being around these haunted objects, trying to explain some things, they'll cause you to really overthink what you're trying to say, and which causes this fog effect, and you get zoned out at the same time. And so when I saw V reacting that way, I saw a little bit of that happening to myself in some other situations where I'm like, holy crap, he is fucking drained, and I know exactly what that feels like right there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's
SD
all
sessions. What did it?
what's that?
The
Estes.
Estes session.
That's the session. Yeah, I
I
could
say
definitely
Estes.
see that.
Yeah, it definitely got me like really drained because I had a lot of stuff coming through like that wasn't just like radio frequencies. I couldn't
Right.
make it out. Like it was very difficult. Won't have that problem no more.
Stop tossing that. It's freaking me out.
I purposefully
I'm about
got
to lose.
small ones so I
He's
could
going to
do this.
hit an artery probably, and y'all been ready to watch everything just go lights out on live. If so, somebody monetize it. I ain't going out that way.
They're not sharp. They're pointy. It's my fidget
That's what
spinner.
she said.
I mean,
it's a knife fidget spinner.
no, it's just it's my fidget spinner.
It's a fidget spinner, yes. For YouTube, yes. It's tiny. It's a little tiny, but it's about to go into one of my arteries.
Oh, and they're accurate.
You
Like,
can't show that
accurate.
on YouTube.
I didn't show it.
Okay.
It blurred like when I pulled it up.
Yeah, it blurred all right. It reflected the light.
Look at this. Do you see this? Like that's yeah. I don't think you have to worry about anything.
That's crazy.
Anyways, yeah, we have such a fantastic time on our investigations. It's absolutely amazing. We get along perfect every single time.
Yeah, like
it
great.
is just
100%.
Like over at that second investigation you guys did, the Bobby Mackey's at the end, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I barely remember Bobby Mackey.
I showed him the extended
cheeseburger.
cut.
The cheeseburger.
Yeah, making the rooms bleed. Nobody else. So
the rooms bleed.
Publicly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would on Patreon. Like I don't have a problem putting it out publicly, but it was funny. It is funny, but you did
have the walls bleed on the full episode though.
Yes.
That was so that was the first time I kind of was aware a little bit about that Seer app, and that tripped me out that you guys got that, because V did ask for the walls to bleed, and that's just weird.
Yeah, it's put out in my head ever since.
Like I yes, but still it comes in clutch. I would say that I wouldn't put all of my stock in that app.
Yeah.
I would say
Absolutely,
it's a 50-50, but it's still very interesting, and it's part of the research. I mean, could it be listening? Yes, but my phone wasn't, the Seer app wasn't open. Does that mean it's not listening? We just need to go look at the stuff. I don't think it listens personally, but I could be wrong. I'm not going to say, like, when it comes to things that, I mean, even the Necrophonic app, I can tell the difference between the Necrophonic sounds and the actual sentences or words. Because Necrophonic is only programmed with so if you hear a whole sentence like you know how to leave, come out, and you hear the same voice come through it, you're dealing with something. You're not dealing with the pre-programmed crap. When it comes to those spirit box on the radio, I trust that about more than anything, because you got to know how to tell the difference between a channel And then, an actual sentence, like we were at Bobby Mackey's and I asked,
Mhm.
can you touch one of those cat balls, please? And at Bobby Mackey's, it says, play with cat balls. And they don't say that
Mhm.
on the radio. I
Yeah,
mean, and YouTube, I mean cat balls as in toys. Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
Those are
and
great, but
mhm.
my favorite, I do like necrophonic just because I've gotten some of the best results I've
we
gotten.
have
That
Mhm.
Brushy Mountain
Mhm.
like session at Death Row is by far one of the best like necrophonic sessions I've ever done.
St. Albans
Yeah.
Sanatorium, second floor, going up to the unaliving room. Before we went to the unaliving room was my
Mhm.
favorite. That was the clearest sentences from the same spirits. Go back and watch it.
It
Yeah,
was good.
Go back and watch. It was wild.
yeah, you guys got some crazy clear captures from that. I ain't gonna lie, you guys did.
Yeah, I wish the audio matched up with it better in the original. Like that would have been a lot like
Mhm.
because you could have seen a whole lot more of like what was going on, what was being said. There was 3 or 4 things. I was still new to using necrophonic, so I've now like become much more familiar with the things that it like fires off all the time.
Mhm.
Like you can pretty much guarantee that if you're hearing a whisper, it's something.
Yeah.
Like I've heard whispers directly saying my full name, I saying my dad's name. I've heard it saying all kinds of stuff from necrophonic.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, Underlust. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah, Luminary reached 1,000 and I didn't even try. I'm going to tell you how Luminary got to 1,000. I'm just reading the comments. Luminary got to 1,000 because I created a tornado. This is a Native American folklore thing. And I made a tornado short and it got like 167,000 views.
Wow.
And I can't hit nothing like that with important things like I'm trying to get across now, but I make something not on TikTok. I made the TikTok on my Chastely TikTok of the guy. I clipped it because it was funny. The guy tinkied on the table at the
Mhm.
restaurant. He was drunk. He got arrested. That got almost 1 million freaking views on TikTok. But comes to anything like this,
Yeah.
but no, I'm super happy. Like it's not all about the money or the monetary. The only reason that I do care to get to 1,000 is because we cannot, without the help of like views and stuff, we cannot continue to go to these locations. They are very expensive. That's
Yes,
the only thing.
absolutely.
Like, yeah, so like we can put a little tiny money into it, but we are not. I ain't slinging bands here at all.
Like every extra dime I got into it.
This is my full time
Yeah.
job.
Legit.
But we've been fortunate
Yep.
enough though with Patreon and everything to where just multitude of things we've been able to only have to like go to Brushy Mountain. We only had to pay for gas, so that's affordable for
Yeah.
us, but not anything else. And we ended up staying in a hotel. That was on us, but we didn't have to technically, but we chose to because the fuzz was hot. Like they were
Mhm.
pulling over.
Story.
They were pulling over people left and right. We're like, we ain't dealing with the
Yep.
fuzzies today. We just come out to prison.
I bit the bullet.
Greg got pulled over on the way. We're like,
Wow.
Holiday Inn Express, expressly get me the fuck out of this
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
it just was too much. We were in a town we
Yeah.
didn't know, and anyways, but
We started going hotel shopping, and then like we realized after the second hotel it wasn't going to happen, so we just went to the very next thing that we had. Like you remember we went through like 2 or 3.
yeah, I remember Holiday Inn Express is my favorite though.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
anyways, we're rambling. But ultimately, thank you for
Yes.
everybody. The whole point of that is thank you, Duran, for the kind words. Thank you for having us. And also, thank you to everybody that has supported us. We're talking about our
100%.
Appalachian Nightmare. We've literally only done 7 investigations and put out 1 recap video and then like maybe 20 lives in the last 7 months. And we are almost at 1,000. And if it
Yep.
wasn't for you guys, even Duran and the support of y'all, none of this would have happened. Anybody, everybody here, I truly appreciate and care about, and y'all make this happen, and y'all drive me to do this work. Because if it wasn't for y'all, I probably wouldn't do. I mean, I would do something, but I wouldn't do any of the work that I do. So thank y'all for being y'all and the support. Really grateful. Honestly, I say that a lot, but I want to convey that like I really mean it. So
Yeah. Well, thank you, you guys.
yeah,
That means a lot too.
yeah,
You know, anybody that is new to um Luminary Luna Beings and or Our Appalachian Nightmare, you could click on the link in the description that'll send you straight to Chas's page. So you want to check this channel out because the content is phenomenal. And when I mean phenomenal, I'm saying like cinematical. I mean, very good quality. So it's done very well. Her and V are the perfect example of who people should be tuning into with learning the examples of how to get out in the field, because the way they investigate it's really well done.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
We try really hard. Yeah, I mean, we're human. We have slip ups every once in a while, but we try really hard. You know, and what you see is what you get. Like I'm not trying to over exaggerate. I'm not trying to like make something it's not. Like if I don't think it's paranormal 100%, generally, most of the time you'll see me kind of like work my head around it in the video. But if I feel it, it's there, you know? So like I feel it. If I feel it, I feel it. And I tell you, but I still leave it up to interpretation, you know? Like there's also, I try to debunk. I try to do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
To make sure, you know, but it's hard in those situations. But we do the best that we can with our evidence too.
Yep.
So it's what you see is kind of what you get.
Oh, yes.
No fabrications. So that's important to me. And also, guys, if you're from my channel, you may have already have, but can you please subscribe to Duran as well? That would be much appreciated, because I send it out on my channels too.
Absolutely. He's got some very good material.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to have to, unfortunately, cut it now. My back is starting to come into.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised we made it this long. That's crazy.
I know. I know.
But,
I'm over here like,
yeah,
because we're only slept like 4.5 hours, broken sleep last night. We had to leave early. I'm hanging on. I'm gonna hit that bed in there. Probably not take off my makeup and call it a night. Watch some YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
I'm probably gonna go watch some ghosts.
Yep. Well,
anyways.
You try to get a response.
Well, we got some work to do.
I ain't doing shit tonight. You can come haunt me tonight. I don't care. I'm going to sleep. I ain't gonna wake up. I'm just joking.
Can't turn it off now.
Don't do that. That's not a great example. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joshing around.
Well,
all right, Josh.
Name ain't
Josh. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I really do.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and I really appreciate everybody. Oh yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, and it's really cool to actually finally meet you, V. So I appreciate that. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the next episode. So good night, everyone. Happy nightmare.
Good night. Much love and light.
Stay spooky.